GNCC returns to RacerTV.com, and it is Josh Merritt coming off his first career XC1 win. Can he repeat? How about it for Wyatt Wilkin? A second-place finish, now 2 in a row. You know the young man wants his first taste of victory. And, of course, the points leader, Bryson Neal, lurking in the shadows, a third-place finish. Can he return to the center of the box? All that and more starts right here, right now on RacerTV.com.
Are you ready to go? GNCC Racing!
Good afternoon and welcome to round number 8 of the 2024 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing Series presented by Specialized, your AMA National Championship. We are here in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania for the Parts Unlimited Mason-Dixon GNCC. We are next door to the Mecca, just a stone's throw from High Point. Matter of fact, you can see the track from here, Johnny. These are hollowed grounds here this weekend, and boy, it's shaping up to be a dandy.
Absolutely. It's a bit of a homecoming here for GNCC Racing. Obviously, the headquarters of Racer Productions right here in Morgantown, West Virginia, very near this facility. So many races with so much history have transpired in the hills right around here. This property has been named and renamed multiple times over the year. Currently the Mason-Dixon, previously Taylortown. This is where you park when you come as a spectator for the High Point Pro National. Again, just across the road. So many things happening here in the racing world, but this weekend it's all about GNCC Racing.
All about GNCC Racing and all about Josh Merritt, your buddy, my buddy. Hey, he finally got it done. Folks, he didn't retire. Breaking news, I know. But boy, what just a sensational race by him. Obviously, you know, you and I, we were chit-chatting with Walker Fowler and Josh Merritt post-race. Off the record, you know, all of the fun things. We got the details. Turns out, you know, there was a little mishap there with Bryson Neal and Walker Fowler. They went up a hillside. They said, oh, this isn't the track. We got to go back where we came in. They did the right thing, folks. They did the right thing. I know that might be hard for some to believe, but they did the right thing. Is what it is. Doesn't matter. Merritt was right there with Wyatt Wilkin. He said, buddy, we're in first and second. Let's go get this thing. And they did.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it really truly is for Josh, not just a race win. It really is a realization of a lifelong dream. Something as a young boy, you know, racing in the youth ranks here all those years ago. You know, you're watching back then, it would have been Bill Balance, obviously Chris Forge, now most recently Walker Fowler and Bryson Neal. Watching those guys grab wins, watching those guys get titles. When you're young, like, you have those dreams. And for Josh Merritt, you know, it was truly a realization of a dream to cross that finish line first. You could see the emotion. You could see, you know, all those years of hard work that he and his family put in just kind of bubbling over in the emotion. It was pretty cool to see. Yeah,
very awesome. You know, again, a big congratulations to Josh Merritt for it. Now, Johnny, he gets to learn the other side of what comes with winning is it's racing. What have you done for me lately? He's got to go out there and do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got a good perspective on it, though. Just following him on social media, he actually made a post this morning that said, one last time, you know, I want to thank everybody that helped me make this happen, not only recently, but over all the years. So he knows it's today. It's time for him to go back to the starting line. Yes, he is the defending race winner, but at the same time, you know, Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, Hunter Hart, Wyatt Wilkin, and the rest are surely going to maybe even have a little bit of an extra target on Josh. Just, you know, some of those guys feeling, you know, he and Wyatt are good friends, but at the same time, Wyatt was so close. That one could have gone either way. Josh got it done, but if you're Wyatt, you got to be thinking, hey, my buddy Josh got it done. Maybe I'm next.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That was what I was going to allude to is Wyatt Wilkin. You know, he was doing all the right things last year in that rookie season. No sophomore slump for that young man. Wyatt Wilkin, you and I talked about it. He is the real deal, as is Josh Merritt. Wyatt Wilkin just has a little more youth on his side, which is a scary, scary thing if your name's Walker Fowler or Bryson Neal in the coming years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Wyatt is young. He's new to the class. This is only his sophomore season. And he's quickly, in 2024, becoming a regular on the podium. You know, when he got that first podium at the Georgia round, it was kind of like, well, it's a mud race. You know, questions, whatever you may say. But a podium's a podium, and now he's starting to stack them up. There's one, then there's two, then there's three, and they just seem to keep coming. So here we are at round 8, and he's got an opportunity to show again that he is a podium contender.
Now we talk about the championship contender, Bryson Neal. He's the wheels have fallen off, right? No, certainly not. Back-to-back third-place finishes. I've heard Walker Fowler mention it, Bryson Neal, Caleb Russell back on the day. Hey, you win your championships on your bad days. Man, Bryson Neal's bad day is back-to-back third places. He's in control. He's fine. He has no reason to panic. But I got to think the competitor in Bryson Neal wants to be in the center of the box.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it really, truly was a great day for Bryson Neal in the points, at least. Came in, Walker Fowler able to grab that win in the previous round, start to tighten those points up just a little bit. Then Bryson comes back, puts it on the podium. Walker obviously having a big off day.
Yeah.
Soon after that, issue, he and Bryson were off track, realized they were, kind of talked about it and said, hey, we need to go back this way. Lost some time in the process of that. Walker injuring his shoulder, ultimately finishing 11th place overall. And Bryson with a third place. I mean, that's a big point swing, and those are the two that are closest in the championship battle. So Josh Merritt kind of takes a jump up there and gets a little closer to Walker Fowler. But again, Bryson Neal gains points, significant points on a bad day. I mean, that's a pretty solid championship day for sure.
He'll take it. He'll take it. Absolutely. XC2. Grayson Eller coming away with the win just a few weeks ago. Yeah, Grayson Eller rode great. Obviously, there's been a couple of different guys on top in that XC2 class here so far in 2024. But Grayson Eller consistently has just been putting himself on the podium week in and week out, grabbing another win, and ultimately putting himself in the position where, at least as of right now, he's the guy that everybody's gunning for that 2024 championship. That's it. Hey, it's going to be a great day of racing. Breaking news, there's no rain. There's no rain, finally. But, hey, maybe we've got a duster here today. But for more on that and what these guys are going to face as far as the track is concerned, we will throw it to our trail boss, Mr. Jared Bolton, for a Yamaha track description.
Well, thanks, guys, and welcome back to the Mason-Dixon. This venue's only been part of the GNCC series. This is its 7th time here, but it's got deep-rooted connections to off-road racing in general. You go back to the early 2000s, Matthews Farm here actually hosted a couple of GNCC events, 2000, 2001, 2002. Went away for a few years. We came back in 2018, and boy, it's been awesome ever since. We're right across the street from the beautiful High Point Raceway, which is going to play home to the Pro Motocross Championship in just a couple of weeks. So this whole area is just a hotbed for racing. And the racetrack here, we call it Mason-Dixon for a reason. You start off on the Pennsylvania side. The trails are a little more open, a little more flowy. And then you're going to cross that Mason-Dixon line into West Virginia. The trails get tighter, more technical, a little bit rocky out there. And then you come back in Pennsylvania to finish it off. It's one of those times that I'm going to say there's a little bit of something for everyone, because that is really true here at the Mason-Dixon, and that's why so many people love racing here.
No questions asked.
All right, thank you, Jared, for that Yamaha track description. That gives you guys an idea of exactly what the riders are going to be facing out there today. We're going to let Mikey Waynes head down to the starting line for some 10-second calls. We're going to get all the racing action underway, and you're going to be able to follow along with us all day today. Tune in live to racertv.com. We'll bring it all to you.
When I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sort you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You got to pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Ah, yee! Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Bogging off the bottom. Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call tonight.
All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready.
Thank you, Tim. Let's go to the Lord and let's have a word of prayer together this afternoon. Lord, once again, we do thank you for bringing us all together safely to such a beautiful place. Lord, you have blessed us with a beautiful day, and we thank you for that. We ask you to watch over these riders this afternoon, that you would keep them safe. Be it the spectators and everyone that's gathered here, so let's have a wonderful afternoon together. Do continue to watch over our military men and women. Lord, they're in all places of the world right now we don't even know about, keeping us safe. That's why we're out here having some fun together. Be with our leaders at the high level and the local level, that they would make the right decisions for our country every day. And our local policemen, firemen, and paramedics, and all our communities across the United States every day, watching over us and keeping us safe. Be with them and their families. Lord, we just need to be thankful that we're here having fun. A lot of people would like to be here. We just thank you for every day listening to our prayers and keeping us safe and watching over us. We thank you for being in control of everything. And when we head down the road home today and tomorrow, we ask that you would take us home safely so that one day we're going to get back together and we're going to do this again and have some more fun. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, Ricky. And now as Ricky Towery makes his way over to turn number 1, if you are in that XC2 class, this is where we like to ask you guys to step forward onto that XC1 line. You guys are going to lead us by example. And as for the rest of us, if you have not already, please remove your hats and cross your hearts as we honor the greatest nation in the world with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right. We are about ready to light them up. Copy that, Adam. All good, buddy. All good. And at this time, we want to welcome everybody watching at home on RacerTV.com. This is round number 8 of the 2024 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing Series, presented by Specialized, your AMA National Championship. And as you guys have tuned in on Racer TV at this time, we are ready to introduce our starting row for the XC1 Pro Class here this afternoon. Big John, you ready? All right. Or Jeremy or somebody? Jeremy. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Oh, right there. There you are. My goodness. You got to forgive me. My sinuses, I got allergies, something awful. I'm struggling, but we're not struggling anymore. Now we're ready. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, your starting row for the XC1 Pro Class. Rolling to the line first, the number 1 out of Bidwell, Ohio, aboard the Phoenix Racing Yamaha, the Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal. Rolling to the line next, the 7-2-3 out of Rogers, Ohio, aboard the WFR GBC Fly Racing and B&R back to Yamaha, Walker Fowler. Rolling to the line next, coming off his first career XC1 win out of Akron, Ohio, aboard the Action Off-Road GBC and B&R Motorsports back to Yamaha, Josh Merritt. Rolling to the line next, the 6-2-1 out of Hillsboro, Ohio, aboard the Action Off-Road GBC and Hauser back to Yamaha, Wyatt Wilkin. Rolling to the line next, the 5-2-1 out of Waverly, West by God, Virginia, aboard the Ober Tires, Moose Racing, McGill Mafia-backed Honda, the Gator, Adam McGill. Rolling to the line next, the number 8 out of Elk Ridge, Maryland, aboard the B&R Motorsports, Kenda and Fearless back Yamaha, Stephen Harrell. Rolling to the line next, the 7-0-3 out of Petersburg, Indiana, on a Lone Star Action Off-Road Maxxis and Fly Racing back to Yamaha, Austin Abney. And rolling to the line next, the number 2 out of Newfield, New York, on a Fly Racing Ithaca Recreation Sports back to Yamaha, Hunter Hart. Rolling to the line next, the number 12 out of Sunbury, Pennsylvania, aboard the Action Off-Road, Amsoil and CB Racing back to Yamaha, Chris Borich. Rolling to the line next, the number 9 out of Casca, Pennsylvania, aboard the GBC Elka Moose Racing and JMR backed Honda, the Sneaky Snake, the Cobra, Jared McClure. Rolling to the line next, the 7-1-2 out of Waxhaw, North Carolina, aboard the Phoenix Racing Yamaha, John Glotta Jr. Rolling out next, the 2-4-6 out of Walker, West Virginia, aboard the Sturdy Vant Racing back to Yamaha, Brandon Owens. Up next, the 7-1-4 out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on a Kenda Tires and Singe Graphics back to Yamaha, Ronnie Rush. And welcome back to GNCC, your winner of the Mason-Dixon in 2023, the number 3 out of Struthers, Ohio, aboard the Richardson Racing-backed Yamaha, the Coltrane Cole Richardson. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your starting row here for the Parts Unlimited Mason-Dixon GNCC. I got to have you back behind that white stringer. And now all attention will go down to turn number 1, where the maestro, Ricky Towery, will take over the reins of this race. But first, Mixmaster Murphy jumps into the R-Max 1000 Yamaha. And this is where we like to say, Mixmaster Murphy, remove the meat. As DJ Jorge will take the Monster Energy Activation Transport off of this starting line. And now all eyes will fixate down into turn number 1, where the maestro, Ricky Towery, will take the reins of this race. And we go as Ricky goes. Coming off a sensational round number 7, where we saw Josh Merritt capture his first career XC1 win. Wyatt Wilkin, a second-place finish. Back-to-back second-place finishes for Wyatt Wilkin. Can he perhaps get his first win of his pro racing career in just his second season? The Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal, rounded out the box in third. You know he wants to return to the center of the box, although the championship still in his control. Walker Fowler, a race to forget, and here we go, 1 minute. 1 minute until we're ready to go racing. But Walker Fowler wants to get things turned around, put it back on the box here today, and a slew of other players in that XC1 class who want a piece of it. Ricky now looks down at his watch, and there it is. The blue flag waves, blue flag waves. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. Shut them down. That's all of you. Shut them down. We'll proceed as soon as you get them shut down, boys. There we go. Good job, fellas. And with that, I got to ask you, Mason-Dixon GNCC, are you ready to go GNCC racing? Ooh, that's pretty good, baby. But we are in the mecca of off-road racing. I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC racing? 10 seconds for row number 1, the XC1 Pro. Bang, and they're off. And boy, that sure looked like the Bidwell Bullet. And it's going to be the 723 of Walker Fowler, as it is carnage in turn number 1. Everybody and their brother involved. And maybe, we'll have to look at the tape, but maybe an early start by the Bidwell Bullet right there. So he may have a penalty incurred at the finish line. Jared McClure back on the machine, going to have his work cut out for him. But Walker Fowler grabbing that Canati Tires hole shot as we reset the deck. 10 seconds. Row number 2, the XC2 B&R Motorsports Hole Shot Award up for grabs. Yeah, buddy, I got a front row seat for that one. Alex Seaman, Keaton Henderson, Jeremy Ladon. That's going to go to the 016 of Alex Seaman out of Waterford, Ohio. Grabbing the B&R Motorsports Hole Shot Award as we turn our attention now to row number 3, Junior A, 19 plus in 10 seconds. Corey Vandalinder, David Machisco, Colton Kushta, Ryan Hendershot, Briggs Lazelle, Riley Salick, Brian Brokart, Connor Brandt, Trevor Furby, Jason Rude, Cyrus Homer, Logan Weiser. That's going to go, boy, could not catch that. I think that was the 744 of Travis Enderle. But tough to make out the helmet sticker on that one. College A, 16 to 18. 10 seconds. Hayden Jones, Jace Cooper, Evan Osborne, Andre Williams, Ty McGay, Caden Lambruto, Jeremiah Wolf, Talon Stout, Nicholas Daring, Dylan Trigg, Brody Pullen, Logan Ward, Harrison Lindsay, Jordan Berg. Look at the pile up in turn 1. Absolute carnage in turn number 1. They get her sorted out. Not sure Racer TV does it justice, but talk about a start. It's on an off camber. You're going uphill. It is awkward to say the least, but we love it. That's what we're here for, baby. Senior A, 40 plus, 10 seconds. Dirk DeCerci, the Marlboro Man. Todd Muscala, Jeff Pickens, that's Papa P. Brian Foltz, Jason Rude, Chris Conklin, and Derek Hart. Around turn number 1 they go. Oh, more riders getting turned sideways. 5, 3, 2, Jason Rude. Gonna grab that one. And Jeremy Holbert, you got to keep your head on a swivel down there. Mercy sakes alive. Vet A, 28 plus, 10 seconds. Tyler Griffith, Henry Moore, Nick Davidson, Tom Coons, Scott Meckley, Justin Miller, Baby Mac, S. Michael McAvoy, and Craig Bauman. Round turn number 1 we go. A little checkup from the neck up. That was, boy, was it Tom Coons? 3.52 maybe. Here we go, Junior B, 19 plus, 10 seconds. Michael Word, Jack Neely, Chris Sloan, Caden Fajbik, Jackson Lutz, Hayden Hunter, Tyler Hinderleiter, Corey Zeck, Bobby Duker, Gavin Temple. That's going to be the 838 of Edward Dibin Dedito. There's no way I got his name right, brother. 10 seconds. College B, 16 to 18. Cameron Mahalan, Isaac Hart, James Berger, Andrew Williams, Alan Darlington, Austin Kiger, Austin Miller, Cole Clemens, Triple Exo, Brock Randolph, Jackson Carroll, Luke McMillan, Landon Ostrich. Ooh, man, that's going to go to the 096. That was Junior B, 19 plus. My papers got flip-flopped on me again here. And we're holding, waiting for that dust to clear. Wait on the signal from Ricky Towery. And here we go. 10 seconds. Bang, and we're off. Into turn number 2, little checkup from the neck up. I think that's going to go to the 308. Man, sure looked like the 308. Seconds. Vet B, 28 plus. Bang, they're out. Here we go. 608 in the mix. Oh, getting hung up on turn number 1. That's going to go to the 608 machine. Hey, Rubbins Racing. We're here for it. Love to see it. That is going to wrap things up for us. Sorry about the confusion, folks. I think a couple of my papers got crossed on me. Nonetheless, fantastic start here to the Mason-Dixon GNCC. We'll take a short break, get in a word from our sponsors, and sort it all out. Mercy sakes alive, the XC1 Total Carnage out in front. We'll be right back after this.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sort you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Ah, yee! Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Bogging off the bottom. Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready.
Unlimited Mason-Dixon GNCC. This is round number 8 of the Progressive Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Specialized. My name is Jackson Burrow, and I'm alongside Zach Karen and Johnny G to bring you today's racing action. Stay tuned as Zach takes us through a recap of the start.
Hey, thanks, Jackson. Yeah, what a fantastic weekend of weather we have had so far here in Morgantown, West Virginia, Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, wherever you like to say we're at. Specialized start recap, though. Chaos right off the bat. We start with your XC1 Pro Class. A great jump from several of our riders, but one of the riders you see hanging back is the number 1 of Bryson Neal. Now, up front, looked like the battle was on. I know Walker Fowler got a good jump, but it does look like that is Stephen Harrell forcing his way through. The cameras don't quite do it justice, just how off camber these first couple of corners are, turning uphill, and it looks like that is Harrell leading them into the woods. So a great job there from the XC1 rookie, looking to make some big noise here today. But like we said, Bryson Neal, we have not gotten an official word from race control, but we do believe he started up early. He threw the hand up to try to hang back, but may still inquire a penalty. We'll let you know when we hear from that. We take a look at the XC2 class, and it is Alex Tiemann, we're told, grabbing the whole shot on that number 16 machine, and yet another rider looking to do damage. Grayson Eller, I believe, was up there as well on that Phoenix Racing Yamaha. And as they make their way through, a lot of bumping and banging, as well as some all-out flipping going on, depending on some of those later classes. Looks like we've got leaders on screen, and there is Harrell leading the way. You see some alternate lines there. I believe that's Walker Fowler just behind him. And as fast as they're going by, we're going to call Eagle Eye Johnny G into the booth. Johnny, we've had a great day of racing so far. What are you seeing as they come blowing by on screen?
Yeah, obviously a lot of action here early. We see Hart and Hart working his way by just behind Adam McGill on the 521 machine. Just behind him, Adam McGill on the 521 machine. Then it is, looks like some pressure. Wyatt Wilkin a little further back than we were expecting there. And we should start seeing our XC2 riders. Looks like we're actually going to jump ahead again. And it is still Stephen Harrell on the number 8. So it was actually Walker Fowler getting to the line line first to grab that whole shot award, but then just after him, Stephen Harrell was able to duck underneath in that next corner and make the pass. You see Bryson Neal has already worked his way up into about the number 5 spot, and here comes the rest. There's Ronnie Rush, there's Josh Merritt, there's Hunter Hart, there's Adam McGill. We saw these guys coming through. Then a little bit back further, we do have Brandon Owens there and also Austin Abney. So pretty much the entire XC1 class, save for Jared McClure, who was upside down in that first turn, pretty much running nose to tail at this point. Folks, we can say, we have not heard from race control, but the word on the line from the officials was they did verify Bryson Neal started early. Now, to clarify, he shut his machine off, but likely still will be incurring a penalty at the completion of lap number 1.
Yeah, so that's going to be a big shakeup as well. Got to think he's going to try to work as hard as he can here on lap 1 to get as close to the front as possible. He'll take that penalty on the chin and try to go back to battle. We take a look at the Yamaha Racing track map. A fantastic course we've had on here today. Had some wetter weather earlier in the week. It's put a little bit of moisture in the soil, and now we are all set to have a great weekend of racing out here. A little bit of woods, a little bit of fields, and some dust going to be up in there. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that correct. We do have some dust here at GNCC. I thought it was a myth, but nonetheless, getting a little bit of everything out here today. Leaders back on screen, and there it is, Harrell leading the way. But Jackson, you can already see that gap starting to shrink up, as it looks like several of the riders, they got pit crew members, they got fans there pointing the lines, giving them notification as far as where they're at in the running. And looking like a great day so far, with about an hour and 50 minutes or so left worth of racing.
All right, so there we go. Sorry, just stepping away to take care of some things here quick. You can see now with marking there the 7th place spot, that rider coming through. The fans helping us out there with the finger count. There comes Brandon Owens. That looks like he's actually made his way around Austin Abney. But man, the track's shaping up nicely. It's really that rain that we got earlier this week put some moisture in the ground, and the track is staying together quite nicely. I was out there for this morning's 11 a.m. race, and it's crazy. Oh, McClure is out now, actually making up some ground. So despite being upside down, definitely putting the hammer down, and we should see our XC2 riders starting to work their way through. It'll be interesting to see if it is still the 311 of Alex Tiemann out front, a rider who ripped off some wins early in the season, was in a commanding points lead, and had some struggles as of late, and Grayson Eller is charged to the front. Another rider to keep an eye on, obviously, Kenny Schick, the 259 machine, was up front there off the start, and looks like they are working their way through, and there it is. Tiemann already starting to open up a gap, and I could be wrong, guys. We see this a lot on Motorcycle Day on Sunday, but he's looking like he might be up inside the top 5 overall, or very close to it once you do that time correction. Look at the gap he has already opened up over the rest of this XC2 class. Coming through it is the 171 of Grayson Eller there in second. Looks to be Tanner Walker there in the number 3 spot, Mr. 9-2 himself. Looking back through, then that was Braxton Gross there on the 223 machine, a visiting works rider. So those are your top 4 as they come through here. And then it is the 259 of Schick in the 5th place spot, the 317 of Alex Elioff, our WXC winner's husband. Then we see some more riders working their way through with the shadows. Hard to catch numbers, but I do believe one of them was Dylan Walraven. This is cool to get to see these XC2 guys on camera. We don't always get to pick them out. Looks like James Glotta working his way through. So a lot of these guys, that is a big class out there today. If you guys took a look, that XC2 class literally went stake to stake. Don't know how many riders there were, but I would say, if not close to 30, very close to it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. A great turnout in all of our classes so far today. And another thing that's nice, we can actually see the bikes. We can see the number plates. We don't have the mud and the wet conditions that we've seen at so many of our other races. How do you think that's going to shape up as far as the racing here today? Obviously, these are the top-level athletes. We've had some great racing despite the wet conditions. But here today, a little bit of dust, some dry in some spots. I'm told it's a little damper in other spots. But you still think it's going to make up for tight racing like we've seen so far this year?
I think it absolutely will make for tight racing. And the biggest thing is I think a lot of these guys and gals this weekend, just a way better attitude about it. You know, they've been kind of beat down by the conditions. You know, the GNCC racers are tough. They go out there, they put their best face forward and just charge no matter the conditions. But when it's like mud race after mud race and it's cold and it's rainy, it's just hard to get motivated to go out there and really do battle. Everybody today seemed like they were just excited about the warm weather conditions. The sun is shining. You know, we got great dirt. yes, folks, it is going to be a little dusty in the fields. We'll see that here in a moment. But honestly, aside from just those couple field sections, it really is good dirt. Looking like we're looking at our leader. Looks like it still is Stephen Harrell in the number 8. So give this guy a big shout-out, folks. This is his first run at the front of a GNCC. Last year's XC2 champion, running an absolute phenomenal season. And he's actually going to feel pretty comfortable right now because that rider behind him, the 723 of Walker Fowler, he spent quite a bit of time in Florida riding with Walker, so he's used to looking back and seeing Walker Fowler behind him. Some riders might be shaken by that, but right now, Stephen Harrell absolutely just pushing the pace, riding well. There we see Hunter Hart. We saw Wyatt Wilkin come through, and out front, there he is again, the number 8 on that B&R Motorsports Yamaha, and he is just putting it down, leading the way, and what a great feeling for him to be leading a GNCC overall for the first time.
Yeah, you can't put a price on this kind of valuable experience up front. And like you said, very comfortable with the rider behind him, knows he's not going to do anything crazy, not only because they've ridden together, but because Walker Fowler's in a championship battle. Now, we got to talk about the ups and downs of the season. Last round, I would consider one of the downs. Obviously not the result that Fowler was looking for. I know you guys are close. How is he looking to respond out here today? Because this is kind of one of those, you got to bounce back after a weekend like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the first race this season that Walker Fowler was not on the podium. You know, he's been incredibly consistent throughout the season. Started off the season with a 3rd, and then a whole run of seconds, you know, kind of battling with Bryson Neal for some of those wins, finally grabbing the win at race number 6, and then coming out last weekend, was up in a position battling, was actually hooked up with B. Neal. There we see Alex Tiemann. So that is your XC2 leader, folks. That time right there, that's the distance in the overall. We'll check in with that here in just a few miles to find out where Alex Tiemann drops in this overall. But Walker Fowler with an 11th place finish overall 3 weeks ago. You know, he's really got to make some points. Bryson Neal had a bad day as well, but was able to come back, finish on the 3rd place spot in the podium, and gain pretty well max points for the day. There's our 2nd place rider in XC2. That is Grayson Eller, and it is still Tanner Walker rounding out the podium right now as they run in the XC2 class. Again, Braxton Gross there sitting in the number 4 spot. We kind of expect things out of him today. He's a rider we've seen that's been very dominant in that XC2 class when it's dry and dusty conditions. Started off the season with a solid run in South Carolina, winning both of our hot sandy races. And look at this. Now here your leaders are just really close together now. You see Bryson Neal in that mix. We're going to wait and see when he checks in with 1 lap complete what the penalty will be. We'll see the officials on the side of the track. They'll flag him over. He knows it's coming at this point. He, like you said, he threw his hand up. He realized he had made a mistake. You know, and that's one of those things, you're trying to time it just perfectly. You get a little too close to that button, and those things have a hair trigger. Surely not trying to cheat or gain any kind of advantage. Just bump the button, and boom, that thing fired right up. And you could see by his body language, he immediately realized his mistake, threw his hand up, you know, acknowledged his mistake, shut the machine off, took off. But again, we do expect that race control likely will penalize him somewhere between 15 and 30 seconds, depending on how much of a quote-unquote advantage they feel he gained. One thing to clarify, and I don't know if this is written into the rule, the reason why they still penalize riders even if you shut the bike off is it does disrupt the riders around you. You're not intending to do it, but when you're there and you're ready to go and suddenly somebody next to you, you're likely to turn and look at them like, hey, why are you starting your machine? Next thing you know, you missed the flag. So because of the disruption, that's the reason for the penalty, even if you do shut your machine off. We actually are getting to see some of our college A riders working their way through. That was Jeremiah Wolf, one of our top 3 overall amateur riders from just 2 weeks ago. Coming through there. Looks like that was actually one of our junior A riders working his way through there. I believe that might be the leader in that junior A class. So this is not, it's cool that this weekend we're getting to see some of the A riders work their way through. We saw a lot of the XC2 battles, and you can see the dust starting to hang a little bit in the woods here.
And talk about, obviously, it's kind of the focal point when things get muddy, right? We talk about tear-offs, roll-offs, goggles this, goggles that. But in dusty conditions like this, it's not necessarily building up on the lens as much as it's floating in the air, like you could see in that last shot. You can pull roll-offs all day long. You can't get the dust out of your face. How differently are these riders going to try to approach something like this? Obviously not bad in a section like what we're seeing here at the FMF PowerPoint, but in some of those field sections throughout the next 2 hours, it's going to progressively get worse.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, guys, I want to make a shout-out. That's actually Cole Richardson in the number 3 spot. I didn't realize that before. Obviously coming through, and we did see Bryson Neal work his way through. Looks like John Glauda Jr. But that rider with no number on his back, that is Cole Richardson, a rider who's had phenomenal success here at the Mason-Dixon facility, has won here very, very often over the last 5 or 6 years. He has retired from full-time racing as the number 3 and is coming back and you can see Cole's name 3 times on this list between 2018 in 2023. So the most winning rider, Walker Fowler with 2, Bryson Neal with 1, and Cole Richardson with 3 wins here. So he's been dominant here since 2018. And to have him back out there today, it's interesting. A lot of the guys that have been riding with him, you say, hey, how's he riding? And they say, dude, he's as fast as ever. The question is, it is a 2-hour race. Obviously, he's not training full-time. He is a working man now, working for his father's company, Richardson Cooling Packages. They have a lot of government contracts, do radiators and cooling packages for all types of vehicles and government transport vehicles and all kinds of stuff. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I know they make cooling packages. He's working in sales and learning the family business now after retiring from racing. And but back out here, it's too close to home. He's had too much success here, and he's ripping right up there in the top 3. Doesn't look like he's lost a bit of speed so far. Back to your question, as we see Alex Tiemann coming through, that is your XC2 leader. The big issue is goggle prep on a day like today. The dust will actually work its way through the foam in the goggles and get on the inside. So you can pull tear offs, you can wipe, you can do anything. So the smarter riders that have put themselves through this before, you'll use chapstick or baby oil or something around the foam to actually saturate it like you would oil on an air filter to stop that dust from coming in. The downside of that, on a hot day like today, it doesn't allow as much airflow into the goggles. Your face is going to get warmer. You're more likely to sweat. So that's one of those things you have to balance. How much do you try to block the dust from getting in, but still allow the air in? Second place in XC2, there's Grayson Eller, there is Tanner Walker, and it is still Braxton Gross in the number 4 spot on the FMF PowerPoint here, 10 miles in, and that XC2 battle really starting to heat up.
So an interesting thing. I've never heard that as far as the dust goes. So it's it always kind of surprises me, the endurance race being able to last as long as possible, and every little bit counts. You got to keep those eyes healthy because you take the goggles off. Very similar to muddy conditions, getting a bunch of dust in your eyes, they dry out, they get bloodshot. All of a sudden, you can't see where you're going. And so very interesting to hear about the preparation that goes into each and every GNCC race, no matter the conditions. And yeah, to your point, Cole Richardson, very emotional at the banquet this past year, stepping away from full-time racing, and I like that. You wear your heart on your sleeve, as we saw with Josh Merritt grabbing his first win just a couple of weeks ago. These guys work hard day in and day out. They're living a dream out there. They're at the top level of the sport, and it's been funny. I've been watching Cole on social media, and I've been going back and forth. He's not coming. Oh, he is coming. I don't know what's happening. It sounds like he was kind of in the same boat, wasn't quite sure exactly what he was going to do. He made the decision. He's got the number 3 machine out there and running solid inside the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to have that number 3, it just shows the potential of that rider. We know he's a rider that's capable. Oh, here we see checking in now with 1 lap complete. It is still Stephen Harrell leading the way. In that second place, it is still the 7-time champion of Walker Fowler on the number 723 machine. Doesn't really look like he's putting a ton of pressure, but look at this. There, Bryson Neal has been stopped. He is receiving his penalty, so he is going to lose a spot. Looks like that might be Cole Richardson, but Cole has lost some ground there. Something transpired in that last wood section, because keep in mind, these riders were pretty much nose to tail one camera shot ago. Stephen Harrell, we'll borrow a little bit from one of our old friends, Rodney Tomlin, the ride that dreams are made of.
Absolutely.
Right now, he has been uncontested since turn number 2, where he wrestled the lead away from Walker Fowler. Walker running it in a little deep. Stephen tucked around the inside and said, hey, I might be a rookie in this class, but I think I'm ready to go to the front. It's a dusty day out in the open stuff. I want to get to the front, and right now he's making it look easy. Just doesn't seem to be bothered by the pressure from behind from Fowler and leading the way. First lap led, I believe, we'd have to check, but I'm pretty certain that's the first lap he's ever led in an XC1 class or overall here in GNCC racing.
Well, and if you remember back to last year, he was the guy in XC2, was up front almost each and every round. The question is, how long is Walker Fowler going to remain content here there in the second place spot? Like we said, right now, looks like Harrell's got a good pace. Clearly, it looks like Fowler's comfortable running that, but you can't help but think as this race wears on, he's going to start pushing a little bit more. He's going to want that clean air, because not only is he back there running a good pace, but he's eating roost, he's eating dust off the back of the number 8.
Well, I'll tell you how I perceive Walker Fowler's race IQ to be. He's very aware of what's around him. He likely took a look behind him, saw that Bryson Neal was only 1 or 2 positions behind him. When he looks back now and doesn't see Bryson Neal there, this may be kind of like the wake-up call for Walker Fowler. Hey, if I can get out and try to get a gap. He has not had that opportunity yet in 2024. Bryson Neal's been getting the starts. He's been up there. Even if he doesn't get the starts, he gets up there early. I wouldn't be surprised if Walker Fowler realizes that Bryson Neal is no longer behind him. He tries to make a run for it, maybe tries to make a pass on Harrell and tries to open up a gap, because that would be the first time we've seen anything like that so far far here in 2024. And look at this, he's starting to look racy.
I was about to say, he must have gotten a mic in the helmet to hear what Johnny said, because sure enough, like a flipped a switch, really trying to straighten those corners out. You could see him going outsides to insides, leaving the throttle wide open, slideways, as I like to say, and he's trying to pull up alongside the number 8.
Yeah, not going to be able to get it done on the inside here, but they do have some chicanes coming up on the other side of the road. Look at that. That is a very tight corner. The morning race did not run that, so that could cause some problems as the later classes start to work their way through. But now look at that. Fowler took a look across the fence, saw what was going on back there. So likely he's going to see that even though Bryson isn't right behind him anymore, he is still coming. He's right back there. We'll see what he does, but Stephen Harrell really looks good right now. It looks like Walker Fowler wants to lead, but Stephen Harrell's saying, no, I'm kind of enjoying it up here, and he's fighting him for it, and he's going very fast.
Yeah, doing a great job at it for sure. You talk about the race awareness and race intelligence in a veteran such as Walker Fowler. Stu Baylor, another name that comes to mind. He says he wants to know as much of what's going on as possible, regardless of necessarily what's happening with him. How long does it take for that to kind of be adjusted? I mean, I would have to think somebody like me, I'm laser locked into what I'm doing. I'm just trying my hardest not to hit the ground. Not always the best at it, but nonetheless, for somebody like a Walker Fowler, how hard is he paying attention to that while also trying to focus on what he's doing?
I'm going to be honest with you. A guy like Walker, I mean, he is likely really only per se concerned or paying attention for a couple of riders. It's not, look at this. Walker Fowler makes the move up the inside, but it almost looked like Stephen Harrell let him have it.
Yep.
He took a look over his shoulder, went a little wide. A lot of things could be going on there. Maybe the pressure of leading this thing, the magnitude of it finally got to Stephen, and he was like, hey, man, starting to pump up a little bit. I'm getting tight. Again, our job here is to speculate based off past experience, based off what we think might be happening. But it sure looked to me like he overcooked that corner and left the inside open. But Walker Fowler took no time in taking advantage of it. You can see Walker swings out wide. Harrell comes in, gets on the brakes. Oh, that wasn't intentional at first, but as soon as he did it, he realized he knew Walker was going to come by. He just kind of tried to take it a little too tight, actually. Couldn't hold the line. Once he started to go wide, saw it as an opportunity. You know what? I'm going to let this guy through because he knows a thing or two about winning races. But I think if we keep an eye, we're going to see a very angry, very hard-charging number 1, the Bidwell Bullet, coming up behind these guys. Whether or not he'll be able to make those passes, it looked like he did lose at least one spot when he was penalized there. We have not heard from race control. We can see if our producer can check in and see exactly what the penalty was. Was it 15 seconds? Was it 30 seconds? Our producer, Adam Gordon, that is his new nickname. Apparently, his friends are now putting it in their phones as our producer, Adam Gordon, because that's what we call him. But look at this. Fowler already starting to work up a little bit of a gap. What was pretty much wheel to wheel, you can now see Walker Fowler really starting to apply the throttle. You can see the roofs flying, but Stephen Harrell doing everything he can to match him. And this is a shameless plug and a shout out, but both of those machines up front, B&R Motorsports Motors and Vortex Tuning, 2 quick ones off the line. Josh Merritt normally up there as well. Those guys have that stuff figured out. They're also a series sponsor here, so it gives me the opportunity to give them a plug. But Ryan Smith and the crew there doing a great job getting these 2 guys off to a quick start. They're up there battling right now. They're running 1-2.
Yeah, shameless drop nonetheless, because, I mean, got to give a shout out where it's due. They were rocket ships off the line, and, man, you saw Fowler made that pass and just immediately put a couple of bike links between himself and Stephen Harrell. I think you hit the nail on the head. The pace, the pressure, it was a little bit for the number 8, but at the same time, might have been about the same time that Walker Fowler took a look behind him and said, wait a second, I've got an opportunity that I've been needing for a while. I'm coming off of a bad race. I got to make something happen right now. I agree with what you said about the number 1 as well, though. 2 quote-unquote bad races, finishing in that 3rd place spot. You know he's not happy about it. Then he gets the bad start. It's almost like it's snowballing. Can't help but think that the Bidwell Bullet's going to be coming to the front in a hurry.
Well, you talk about opportunities, Zach. You just mentioned it. I think there's 3 riders near the front of this, 4 or 5. All of them have an opportunity. But the big opportunities I'm talking about, the opportunity for Walker Fowler out front, clean racetrack, clean air. Can he open up a gap? Can he start to stretch it out over the rest of the field? And it looks like he is doing just that. But if you're Stephen Harrell, the number 8 machine, he has the opportunity to try to key off the pace. So there we are told it was a 15-second penalty for Bryson Neal. That is Cole Richardson still in the number 3 spot. Then it's Hunter Hart 4th and Bryson Neal in the number 5 spot. So 15 seconds was the penalty. Looked like he lost a spot. He was already behind Cole Richardson, but may have made the pass before the finish line. Now it's Wyatt Wilkin coming through. I didn't catch who the rider was in front of him. May have been John Glauda Jr. I believe that's who it was on our last camera shot, the 712 machine on that Phoenix Racing Yamaha. Then comes the number 5 of Josh Merritt. Josh Merritt actually making up some ground. He was involved in that first turn altercation, and there it is. Wait. Okay, that was another one of the Phoenix yacht. That wasn't Bryson Neal. Bryson Neal was definitely the first one that came by. I'm pretty certain.
The first, yeah.
We'll get another camera shot. I'm pretty sure that was Bryson in the number 5 spot. But nonetheless, Josh Merritt was one of the last 2 riders to go into the woods. So he's made some passes. He's made up some ground. And now we are looking at Austin Abney and Chris Borch working their way through. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this and see exactly where our XC2 leader checked in. Look at this. I would have expected him, may have lost some time there towards the end of the lap. He is only sitting in the 12th place overall position. And it looks like second place in that XC2 all the way down to the number 17 spot, Tanner Walker. So Alex Tiemann leading the way. Actually, Grayson Eller there in the number 16 spot. So it is those 3 working their way through. Here's your leader on screen, Zach.
I'm telling you what, hearing Walker Fowler, Mikey Wayne's doing that Monster Energy pre-race report earlier, the guy always sounds pretty confident, but today it was a whole nother level. It sounds like he had a lot of time out on the course cycling, really picking out some lines. That kind of confidence from a guy as accomplished as Walker Fowler is extremely dangerous, especially with clean air in front of him right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's talk about the number 2 of Hunter Hart, a rider we've seen who has definitely been struggling. So that, I'm pretty sure, was John Glauda Jr. there. That appears to be, and then Wyatt Wilkin right behind him. So I'm not sure who that other rider was in the moose gear. We'll have to keep an eye out and see. Here is Merritt running back in about the number 8 or 9 spot. And then as they come through, it is Ronnie Rush, Brandon Owens, Adam McGill. So I don't, maybe it was just a phantom rider I saw that maybe it was Ronnie Rush and just the shading of the woods made it look different. But yep, Adam McGill a little bit closer to the back than we're used to seeing him. Struggling a little bit here today. Didn't have the best of start. He may possibly have been the 3rd rider. When I came in, I told you there was 3 riders involved in that first turn incident. Jared McClure was upside down. Josh Merritt was tangled in with him. They were the last 2 to take off. The other one may very possibly have been McGill. Then we see now Chris Borch working his way through, and Austin Abney. Seems like these 2 are hooked up more times than not this year. They're Action Off-Road Racing teammates, and they're always seeming to be hooked up and battling together. That happens a lot in GNCC racing. You find certain people, you're just kind of comfortable running the pace that they are. Jared McClure continuing to try to make up ground, and looks like he is starting to make up a little bit on the 708 of Abney, and also the number 12 of Chris Borch.
Yeah, McClure on the charge. You go back, you were talking about Hunter Hart. Seems like if it hasn't been one thing, it's been something else. Mechanical issues. He's been injured. As now we look at Alex Tiemann, your XC2 leader. He's starting to approach the back end of the back end of the XC1 physically. How much do you think that's going to help him being able to have that physical pace in front of him to go off of?
100%, because right now he's just kind of riding by himself, does not have any pressure from behind. He's opened up a considerable gap over the 171 of Eller, but Alex was a rider who was pretty dominant early this season. Came out, won that College A championship last year, came out completely blind, wasn't even planning on racing, came out and just started winning right at the beginning of the season. He was winning, he was on the podium week in and week out, and then he ran into some rough races there in the middle where he finished even outside the top 10 in some races, which really hurt him in the points. But at the same time, I think he knows the speed is there, and if I had to say one thing, these are just like home conditions for Alex Tiemann. He's from down near where the John Penton GNCC is, just a stone's throw from here, but the dirt is very similar.
And we're going to take you through exactly how things have started things out. What were you seeing there, Johnny?
Big shakeup in XC2. Braxton Gross up to the number 2 spot. Tanner Walker now into 3rd, and Grayson Eller, your points leader, has dropped back to 4th.
So Eller going to try to remount a charge, get back into those podium positions. As we take a look at exactly how things went down. This is that really tight chicane that we talked about, only the pro riders having to go through. We saw Stephen Harrell get ever so caught up, and I think that was the wake-up call. Hey, Walker Fowler isn't just there. He is right there. He tries to protect the inside, locks up the brakes, that dry soil. He kind of starts sliding. Walker Fowler says, thank you, sir. I'm going to take the lead. And I think Harrell did the smart thing and said, I know he's right there. I know he's got the pace. Let me try to sink the hooks in and let him run off.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are really starting to shape up a battle, and then Walker Fowler starting to open up a gap as we got to about the 3-mile marker, able to kind of start to march away, but we know that there's a big shark in the water lurking back there.
Absolutely. Walker Fowler said he didn't think anybody could touch him. We're going to find out. We'll get a quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be back to the Mason-Dixon GNCC.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
On Track School is an online private school catering to some of the top athletes in the world. We offer a flexible schedule for students that are chasing their dreams and always on the go. We are an accredited K-12 school where students can graduate with a diploma. Scan the QR code or call us to book an appointment with one of our learning coaches to discuss your students' next steps.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Mikey Wayne's here alongside Zach Herron and the Johnny Gallagher. I put the in front.
Whoa. Now I feel important.
Authoritative. Jackson Burrell out and about trying to get us a scoop. And you're watching the Monster Mile here at mile marker number 6. Boys, I've been watching in the control tower. Is that what you call it? Is that control tower?
Race control.
Race control.
Tower,
I love that.
No, race control
really
is the scoring trailer.
That's probably true.
This would be Racer TV control.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
We don't want to get confused because we talk about race control.
I call it like ground control, like Tomato Tom.
There you go.
Tomato Tom.
Yeah.
I'm also
Adam's always counting us down. So.
I'm changing Adam Gordon's number in my phone to our producer, Adam Gordon.
Our producer, Adam Gordon.
OPAG.
I love it.
Yep.
Our leader, Walker Fowler, on screen coming through at the 6 mile marker here in the Monster Mile. Whoa, that was a close one.
Ooh.
He saw that monster can, realized it's a hot day, said, you know, I could use a little refreshment. I could use a little energy. I'm going to go ahead and tap this thing, see if I can get a little bit of that goodness to come out.
He changed his mind, though. He said the beast is already unleashed. I'm good. Never mind.
He is unleashing the beast right now, but look at this. The beast is up into the number 2 spot. The Bidwell Bullet has gotten around Hunter Hart. He's gotten around Cole Richardson, and he's gotten around Stephen Harrell, but those guys still lined up in formation behind him. And Mikey Waynes, in case you forgot, the coal train is out there today, and the coal train is putting the coal to it and hammering down. There is Wyatt Wilkin working his way through. Then it is John Glauda Jr. So Wilkin has gotten around Glauda, and now Josh Merritt putting on a charge and starting to work his way up to the rear wheels of the number 712 machine. A little bit of perspective, guys. Talking to Josh Merritt on the starting line, I think he was a little nervous. The pressure of that win really starting to kind of the magnitude of it, I think, coming together. And he looked at me and he said, I'm really nervous. And I think the best thing that happened for Josh Merritt was that tangle up in the first turn there. Because now it's like, hey, no one's worrying like, hey, are you going to go out there and stomp him again today? He's got to claw his way up. He's made it up to the number 9 spot. He's up inside the top 10. How far can he climb? You know he's going to want to try to put himself in a position to be either on or as close to the podium as he can today.
That's a very interesting observation, because there toward the end of my interview with him for the pre-race report, kind of got that same almost vibe from him, where it was like super confident talking about the win, everything was awesome, and then when we shifted gears to talking about today's race, you could kind of see him get a little more serious. Matter of fact, I think we may, if we got a short break there, I think we can take a look at that here in just a moment. Let me know when you're queued up there, Adam. Probably got to get that ready and dialed. But and then the same thing on the starting line. He was walking across the starting line and normally throws up a peace sign. Hey, Mikey, what's up? He just kind of looked at me, nodded, and said, okay, I got to go to work right here.
Well, there's a double-edged sword, too. That's all we talked about when he got the win. Oh, the weight is off his shoulders. The pressure is off. Now it's a little bit of a different story. We've got that interview ready for you.
You know, the 3-week break was awesome. I was a winner for 3 weeks rather than the normal 2. So, no, I'm a big believer in you're as good as your last race. So I was the best for 3 weeks, and I felt like a winner all the 3 weeks, man. I was riding that high. I'm still on it, man. It still doesn't feel real, but it is, and everybody's congratulating me here today, and it's been a really awesome experience. A podium will be good for me, man. Nobody expected me to win that race, and I didn't expect myself to win, so it was a surprise to everybody. So if I come out here and I do my thing, I get on that podium again. Hopefully I'm battling Bryson and Walker for the top 3, top 2 would be awesome. I think it'll be a good weekend, and, you know, I don't need to go say I need to win again or anything like that, because I did it once. I know I can do it now, and, you know, it'll come sooner or later. I've rode with Cole the last couple weeks, and he's still ripping, man. He's still doing good. We'll see what he does in 2 hours, and it's exciting to have him out here again. You'll have another competitor, especially a dude that's dominated at this course. It will be interesting. We'll see how he does. I think he'll do definitely pretty good. I think he'll be a top 4, top 3 guy, and we'll see at the end of the day the checker flag.
Couple interesting things out of that interview. You know, obviously he was talking about Cole Richardson. The train yard, they call it, is where those guys ride during the week. And actually, Cole's been riding with them off and on throughout the season. Kenny Schick, Walker Fowler rides there sometimes as well. Obviously, Josh Merritt, several others. But him saying, and he was the one that's been saying all along, and even Walker, hey, Cole didn't lose any of his speed. But at the end of that interview, he said, you know, I think he might be a top 4 guy. He said top 4. And they said top 4, maybe top 3. In his mind, right now, Josh Merritt believes it is Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, and him are the top 3 guys. Granted, that's where they rank in points, but that's also how he thinks right now, and that is a big change from the past. Walker Fowler out front now here at the 8-mile marker. We'll see what the gap is back to the Bidwell Bullet, the number 1 machine. He's on the hunt, and he is starting already to track down Walker Fowler.
And I know it's not a lock-in, it's not a clock-in, but that body language right there, it looked aggressive, and it looked like he was pushing hard. Stephen Harrell holding down that final podium spot, but got to give credit where it's due. Hunter Hart, he's had a lot of downs. We knew at some point we've got to see the other side. He had a fantastic year last year. He was up, competing for wins, competing for podiums. Good to see him up inside the top 4, as with Wyatt Wilkin, who has also been one of the front runners.
No Cole Richardson. Unless we missed him in the pan back, Cole Richardson was not there. There was what looked to be a rider going through, but that was after Wyatt Wilkin. So either Hunter Hart has dropped, or sorry, not Hunter Hart. Hunter Hart sitting there in the number 4 spot. 5th place looks now to be maybe Wyatt Wilkin, and it looks like Cole Richardson has dropped back to the number 6 spot, at least from that camera shot. A little uncertain the way the camera was panning. Now we're looking back. We see Adam McGill has gotten his way around the 7:14 of Ronnie Rush. So a slow start for the Gator today, but he's starting to work his way up through. And then it's Brandon Owens on the 246 Sturdivant Racing Machine, a rider who was actually won just 3 races ago at the Hoosier in Indiana. Went out and grabbed the win in that XC2 class, and then decided to jump up to XC1 and give it a go with that Sturdivant Racing support. He's out here riding a borrowed machine and doing quite well, showing his legs here in that XC1 class.
Stretching him out a bit. Johnny, let me ask you this. Big talk, obviously, about the weather that we've had, let's be real, for the last year and a half. It's just been nothing but mutters for us. Today, totally different. It's getting hot. Like, it's progressively getting hot today. Adam McGill, I think, was the only guy down there in Pro Row who mentioned the heat being a factor today. He's like, we're not really acclimated to this like we have been in the past because the temperatures have been cooler. You think maybe that's some strategy there by the wily old veteran of Adam McGill? Hey, take it easy that first lap and then start throttling on. And then in that same context, how does that affect these guys today, the heat?
I mean, definitely the heat. We saw it even in our motorcycle race on Sunday 3 weeks ago. Craig DeLong coming across the finish line with the wind and saying, man, it was sneaky hot out there today.
Yeah.
And that was only in the low 70s. You know, I don't know what the official temp is, but I know we were being told it could be upwards of 80 degrees out there today. So that is a big change, like you pointed out. It's pretty warm in Florida, and we're told right now, our resident weatherman, Zach
Chief Meteorologist Zach Aaron here reporting at 79 degrees.
79 degrees of current temperatures. So, folks, keep in mind, you say, oh, 79 degrees, that's a nice day. Now, hold on. Go ahead and put a helmet, some big, heavy riding boots, some thick riding gear on. Yes, a lot of these companies make the hot weather riding gear that keeps you cool. It's vented, but it's still full coverage. You've got knee braces. You've got these heavy socks so you don't get blisters. You've got chest protectors in a lot of cases. Helmet, goggles. You're just not getting the airflow. And then go out and jog around for 2 hours and carry something heavy and see how much you start sweating and see how hot you feel. So you can say, oh, 79 degrees, it's not that hot. No, not if you're outside sunbathing in shorts. But you put all that gear on and really start exerting yourself, it gets real hot, real quick. And I think we're going to see fitness definitely will be a factor today. All these guys train hard. But, man, we've seen some riders that really seem to have that extra fitness right at the top of the list. Bryson Neal, we know he's going to be strong today.
I tell you what, who came running into the Racer TV from the last podium was Jackson Burrell. He was out of breath, but it looks like he's recovered, and he's hanging out down at the FMF PowerPoint.
I sure am, Zach. So, man, the hill's looking great down here. A lot steeper than it appears on the camera. Plenty of moisture still in the ground. We've got some roots starting to show themselves, and I believe we can hear the bikes coming up the hill now. And here we go, guys. Here we go. And Walker Fowler making his way up the hill. And through he goes. Man, the speed that they are carrying down here. Look at this. Here is the Bidwell Bullet. Making sure I got a dirt sample as well on that one. And here we go, guys. Our third place making his way up now. Stephen Harrell on the big number 8, but he has some company. Hunter Hart holding on to the 4th place position. And Cole Richardson still holding in there. Wyatt Wilkin now making his way up. Josh Merritt making his way through as well. What a hill down here for the FMF PowerPoint, guys. As John Glotta makes his way through, we'll throw it back to you.
Man, so some close racing. It looked like Merritt had made up a lot of time on the back of Wyatt Wilkin, and it looked like Hunter Hart was still all over that rear grab bar of Stephen Harrell. He wants that 3rd place spot desperately right now.
Absolutely. He wants it, and this is something we've been waiting to see. We've been knowing it's going to be coming from Hunter Hart. Another rider spent that extra time in Florida, definitely being down there in April and much of May when most of the riders had moved north. Going to be more acclimated to the heat, maybe feeling a little extra confident. Maybe it's that extra 3-week break, or extra 1 week for a total of 3-week break. Went home, figured some stuff out, and right now making it work, putting heavy pressure on the number 8 of Stephen Harrell. But credit to Harrell. He seemed smooth and cool under pressure when it was Walker Fowler. Now feels the same while it is Hunter Hart behind him there. But I will say 7 seconds was the gap between Walker Fowler and Bryson Neal, and it looks like it's coming down. Not in gobs, but it's coming down a second or two every camera shot. Right now it looks like Bryson Neal just has a little bit more pace than Walker Fowler. Don't know if Walker Fowler is in a full sprint right now. I really feel he is. I think he's given it everything he has to try to open up that gap. I will say, once Bryson Neal gets to him, I think we'll see an entirely different race unfold. If Bryson is unable to make that pass, we're going to start to see a pace-controlled race, and I wouldn't actually be surprised to see some of those riders behind start to catch up. Walker Fowler, a very smart rider. If he feels he can't outrun him, he'll pick his spots, he'll control the pace where he can, and he's not going to override the track and give it away. Bryson Neal, though, looking like he's really charging and has Walker right where he wants him right now.
So Bryson Neal fired up. Like we said, he did inquire that 15-second penalty for firing up early on the start. That's already done and dusted. It's behind us now. Everything in front of him is exactly what he's fighting for. And like we said, got the stopwatch out roughly 7 seconds or so to the back of Walker Fowler. What I'm curious to see is if Hart is able to get around Harrell, whether or not he's going to be able to close that gap up at all. Hart came into the season feeling like he was in this title contention. He was one of the guys that was in the talk. Obviously, Cole Richardson last year, it was Cole, Hunter, and Bryson who were really those top 3 guys. You got to think with Coltrane showing up, he said, if there's one guy that I'm not letting me beat, beat me today, it's got to be Cole Richardson.
Well, you're actually spot on, because there was, those guys are friendly, and they were actually standing on the tailgate of a trailer talking yesterday as things were winding down. Here comes Walker Fowler checking in now for 2 laps complete. Hunter Hart, and look at that, that's not even 7 seconds anymore. Bryson Neal has continued to close that gap down and now can see Walker Fowler just ahead of him. Walker Fowler with a quick look over can see Bryson Neal, and the rest will follow in. We'll give you the gaps. But yeah, those 2 last year, battling over those positions there at the end of the year, absolutely no love lost. There was actual physical contact made several times, and it was discussed. They both had received some warnings. There was discussions after the race. But at this point, it's right now, Hunter Hart has been able to make his way around Cole Richardson already, and I will say, in that last camera shot, it's kind of hard to read body language, but Cole Richardson didn't look super aggressive. I think he's maybe sitting back there thinking, you know what, the whole deal of me not racing all the time, already starting to feel it a little bit. I think he's got great speed, and as long as he can keep those guys in sight, I think he'll be okay, but it looks to me like he might already starting to be feeling it after 2 laps of racing.
Very good point. Although we got to go back to 2023. Zach, you were the one that reminded me of it as Cole Richardson coming across the checkered flag.
Leaving it all out there.
Just puking his guts out. So we know that the man is certainly capable of going above and beyond what his body is asking of him.
Well, and to point this out, and I'm quoting him on this, he was asked about that after the race. He said it wasn't fatigue. He does suffer from Crohn's.
Yeah.
So he has some, internal stomach issues, bowel issues. He said that was that flaring up. That said, if you looked at him when he crossed the finish line, whether it was the Crohn's, whether it was fatigue, whatever, he was spent to hold on and grab that win. But that just goes to show how deep he will go to get the job done. Obviously not training full time. Speed will be there. I'm hard pressed to think he's going to be able to hold this one to the finish, but that's why we run the races, guys. I mean, he has had incredible success here over the years. Would not be shocked to see him standing up very close to, if not in a podium position at the end of this one. But the next lap or so here is really going to tell the tale of the tape. If he starts to lose ground, it's going to be hard for him to keep digging for a 5th, 6th, 7th place position. It's considerably different when you know you're battling for a podium.
That's exactly it. Watching Bryson Neal on the Yamaha Racing live drone. And for the folks that have been watching GNCC ATV racing for the last year, that stuff they're kicking up into the air is called dust. And here comes Walker Fowler into the pits now. Little additional rehydration right there. Looked like he was getting some electrolytes in. As Bidwell Bullet checks into the pit, there goes Walker Fowler with the lead.
There you go. He is back out. Looks like it'll be about the same gap. It was 5.2 seconds when they checked in at scoring, so not hugely different from the 7 seconds that it was a mile or so ago. Coming through this section was interesting. I didn't notice until we watched the replay, Zach. Mikey, you weren't in here for the booth. There was actually a spectator or a camera person standing in the corner, and that's why Stephen Harrell had to come to a stop there. That's when things got a little sideways. Speaking of Stephen Harrell, he is in and out of his pit area there. We see Josh Merritt. We see Wyatt Wilkin. It is a veritable traffic jam in the GBC Tires pit stop area. And look at this. Josh Merritt making the pass. Wyatt Wilkin has something going on. Standing on, that was interesting.
Fuel,
freestyle points? I have no idea. I'm not even going to speculate. Possibly spilled fuel on him, but what good would standing on your seat do? I don't know. I'm uncertain. So there is John Glaude Jr. Matt Pierce quick with the dump can, getting him filled up. And John Glaude Jr. a little closer to the front today, was doing very well early in the season, much like Alex Tiemann, seemingly struggling here a little bit lately, but getting back on track. Now Ronnie Rush and Adam McGill into the GBC Power Sports Tires pit stop area, and back to the shot of Walker Fowler leading the way from our Yamaha Racing live drone.
Fowler doing a great job of really piecing those corners together, outside to insides, keeping the momentum up. We'll wait to see whether or not Neal, looks like maybe a second or two, I feel like it's stretched out on that pit stop.
Yeah, it was a clean stop for Fowler. Looked like Bryson Neal in and out quickly as well. But now we're going to see what's going to happen here. I'm going to make a speculation or prediction. If we keep it at that 5-ish second gap, these guys are going to continue to pull away from the riders behind them. The minute that they come together and they go wheel to wheel, it may slow things down with Walker Fowler being in front. Bryson Neal, a rider that doesn't really seem to pace himself unless he gets a good-sized gap. If he's got pressure from behind, he's driving, he's pushing. Walker Fowler, one of his trademark moves is try to get out front, try to stretch it out. If you can't do that, control the pace and pick your spots. Right now, it feels like he has that opportunity to open things up. Austin Abney on the number 703 machine. I think I said 708 earlier. Yeah. But the 703 of Austin Abney in and out of the GBC Power Sports Tires pit stop area. Now it's the 12 of Chris Borich coming in, and he is going to take some fresh Scott goggles, some VP race fuel. Saw another rider work their way through. Possibly one of our XC2 riders. Jared McClure also was on the charge and had closed up some ground on these guys.
One thing I did notice when we flashback, we saw Harrell go into the pits. I did not see Hart, and it looks like he may have had that pass made already for the third place spot.
A good catch there, and he is only 16.9 seconds behind Bryson Neal when they check in with 2 laps complete. So definitely still within striking distance and could work his way up into and make this a 3-rider battle for the lead here at the Mason-Dixon GNCC. Shout out to Stephen Harrell sitting there, still only 4 seconds behind. Cole Richardson now back into the number 5 spot, only 4.8 seconds behind Stephen Harrell, and then it is Wyatt Wilkin in the number 6 spot, 2 seconds back. Josh Merritt on the charge up to the number 7 spot, only 3 seconds back, and then a small gap back there to John Glaude Jr. in 8th of 13 seconds. So your top 10 really still only separated by about a minute.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was before we saw the pit stops. We saw Merritt look like had the pass made around Wilkin after that, 1-footer move or whatever happened.
So that would move him up to 6th, and the next rider in front of him would be the Coltrane. Choo-choo, baby.
Yes,
These guys ride together during the week, but there will be no love lost. And when I say that, I mean Josh is going to give it everything, try and get around Cole, but if Cole, especially if he's still putting pressure on Harrell, he's not going to make that easy on Josh Merritt. He's not going to look at it as, hey, this is a podium guy now. He's going to say, that's my buddy Josh, and I'm not going to let him beat me. He's going to keep pushing. And Stephen Harrell, shout out to him. Early leader, sitting in the number 4 spot. A phenomenal ride for him here so far at the Mason-Dixon GNCC. Leader on screen, Zach.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the Coltrane-Merritt relationship, because I was going to ask. Obviously, some of these guys, they're very aware of whether or not they have the pace. They're also aware of where they are in the points championship. I was going to say, do you think Cole realizes, hey, that's my buddy. He's in the middle of a title fight. He's in 3rd place in points. Or do you think it's like, hey, man, I show up. I don't know how many of these races I'm doing this year. If you want to get around me, you're going to have to make it happen.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think that could go either way, as we'll try to see what the gap is. It was 06 when Bryson Neal came through. So it looks like about 24 seconds up from 16 at the finish line. So right now it looks like Walker Fowler and Bryson Neal opening things up just a little bit over Hunter Hart. But Hunter's still there about look at this.
Whoa.
Oh, man. Cole Richardson with that outside line very nearly making the pass on Stephen Harrell. So let's throw the idea of Cole Richardson being tired and starting to Tucker out the window. Now he's back on the throttle. And to your point, Zach, that might have been because he looked over his shoulder and he saw, oh, Josh Merritt, Wyatt Wilkin. No, I'm in 5th right now, and I don't think I want to go any further back. Let's go forward. Looking like he's really starting to put the pressure on. And John Glaude Jr. really working hard, trying to make up that gap and get back to that battle that would have him very near the top 5.
Adding to that, speaking with Coltrane prior to the race, there goes Adam McGill right there. I asked him, I said, any chance we get you out here for a few more of these? And he said, well, I got to be honest, the idea of running, row 4, row 5 at Snowshoe sounds pretty nice, actually. It could benefit him. So he said the plan is, if things go well there, or well here today, he's running Snowshoe.
There you go. He's done very well there in the past. He's got a lot of speed, especially in the rocks and the slippery stuff. It's a lot like his practice track at home. A lot of speed right now from those two. Walker Fowler leading the way. Bryson Neal just kind of chipping away at it. Just a little bit of a second here, a second there. What was 7 seconds about a half a lap ago is now down to probably under 5. So it's a very close race. But these two, it's like heavyweight prize fighters just throwing punches. Hunter Hart throwing everything at it, and shout out to Hunter. Mikey, we've taken some heat saying we've been critical of Hunter. Guys, we just call it like we see it on the screen. Right. And right now, Hunter Hart running a heck of a race and riding very well, solidly in a podium position. And now look at this. Cole Richardson has gotten around. Mercy. No, wait. Hold on. That was Josh Merritt has gotten around. Wow. Got around both Harrell and Wilkin and is now up into the number 4 spot. And now this is the dynamic I was going to mention. Josh Merritt and Hunter Hart have this thing going on right now. Hunter Hart feels like all year has felt like he's supposed to be one of the top 3 guys. Josh Merritt, clearly on points, on performances, has wrestled that away. And they're buddies, but you can kind of sense this tension between them. Sure. And Josh, I think, really came into the season thinking, my path to the top 3 is directly through that guy right there with Hunter Hart. It's nothing personal, folks. Sure. These guys are going out there to compete. They can be buddies off the track. They can hang out. They can go to dinner. But he knows between Bryson Neal and Walker Fowler, there's a whole lot of wins and a whole lot of championships there. So the easiest, quote, I say air quotes, way to get to the top 3 is try to knock off Hunter Hart. He's been able to do it so far, but right now, Hunter Hart has a handle on that number 3 spot, and Josh Merritt needs to make hay if he wants to get there to battle for it.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but finally, to Hunter Hart's credit, finally looking like the Hunter Hart I think we all expected to see coming into this season. And I might add, on the comical side, the man grew a mustache.
Hey,
okay?
Coincidence?
Whatever works, coincidence? I think not. Absolutely not. So the mustache is working for Hunter Hart. We know he's a superstitious dude, too, so if he does well here today, ladies and gentlemen, that mustache ain't going anywhere. And we ask that you folks watching at home, please don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short break, get a word from our sponsors, but right now it's the Walker Fowler show out front. Bryson Neal, the Bidwell Bullet, in that number 2 spot, patiently waiting, lurking, always has that water bottle in his mouth. I don't know how he does it. Keeps it in there forever. It's ridiculous. But we got a good one. We'll be right back right after this on Racer TV.
On Track School is an online private school catering to some of the top athletes in the world. We offer a flexible schedule for students that are chasing their dreams and always on the go. We are an accredited K-12 school where students can graduate with a diploma. Scan the QR code or call us to book an appointment with one of our learning coaches to discuss your students' next steps.
Let's go racing! Full contact! Look at that lead! Down to the inside! Jet Lord still on top. Oh, the podium's here. I don't think any atmosphere can match it. Nothing quite like pro motocross.
We've been there since the very beginning. Organizing the industry and building champions. "100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future."
Community, family, teamwork. It's what we have stood on for over a decade. Hauling might be what we do at the surface, but it's much deeper than that. Because what you need matters. When you need a haul, give us a call at 724-852-4488. For 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, we at JD Enterprises are prepared to serve you.
It takes commitment, passion,
And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Round number 8, the Mason-Dixon here in Mount Morris, PA. Walker Fowler out in front. Bryson Neal in the number 2 spot. Hunter Hart finally looking like the Hunter Hart we expected to see coming into this season, having a solid ride. And the storylines are endless, fellas. I mean, you've got Merritt out there battling again with Wyatt Wilkin. Coltrane is back out here racing with us. Boys, this one's been pretty wild, to say the least.
Yeah, it seems like everybody inside the top 5 has their own reason. Obviously, Josh Merritt, he's on the charge. Hunter Hart, he's trying to turn the season around. Walker Fowler, he's coming off of a bad race, as is Bryson Neal. I mean, it was 2/3, but still for Bryson Neal, he's not satisfied on that. So each and every rider wants to find their reason to get up on the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's you got a lot of riders that you expect to see up front. They're all there. You got a few riders that you don't expect to see on the track at all, like Cole Richardson, and they're there as well. So it's a great mix of riders up front, and the battles have been hot and heavy so far. Obviously, Stephen Harrell, a rider with a lot to prove today, leading lap 1 and still solidly sitting just outside the top 5, but still in reach and not far from a podium position at all.
Yeah, certainly in a good position. Not a bad day for the rookie here so far. Still taking those notes, but how about it? Walker Fowler coming off what he would say a forgettable round number 7 with an 11th, doing very well here today. Still a lot to fight for between him and B. Neal. We actually had a chance to catch up with Walker Fowler.
They've all been mutters. I pray for rain every race. That's my conditions. I hate that I let that one slip away. Just an unfortunate situation. Was riding over my head. I didn't know where I was at on the track, and turns out Bryson was behind me, and I was riding like an idiot because I thought he was in front of me, and just was going too fast. Had a pretty good crash. The big crash didn't hurt me. It was the slow trying to get away from the quad crash that hurt me. But shout out to Adam McGill for helping me there. But yeah, rebounding from that. I took 10 days off. I dislocated my shoulder. It popped out. Adam put it back in unknowingly. So Adam, MD McGill, to the savior there for the day. But just like I said, took some time off and then jumped back on the bike and honestly felt pretty good. You can ask Josh Merritt, Kenny Schick, McKenna Brutally. Who else was there? Alex Elioff. Speed's still there. I got to be careful for sure. I think another 3 weeks I'll be perfect, but all things considered, I'm pretty good.
Well, there you go, Zach. You know, from the man himself, he just came right out and said it. And right after the race, limped it in for an 11th place finish, but had a big get off. Actually, 2 back-to-back from the way he explained it. He and Bryson Neal were actually stuck together in a little bottleneck. They got off course. Leader on screen, the 723 of Fowler, still leading the way, and still hot and hard on the throttle behind him. Oh, look at that! Bryson Neal into the trees, losing a little time there. You see Walker Fowler almost hit that monster can just a lap ago. Bryson Neal, realizing he was going to hit the monster can, and made a right-hand exit into the brush. Looked like that was Brad Whitehead, jumped out, dragged him back out of the bush, got him back going on track there. But, yeah, Walker Fowler did dislocate his shoulder, went and got it checked out. They said, hey, at this point, not something that really requires surgery. You've had a little stretching of all the tendons, the ligaments, everything that holds your shoulder in place. You probably need to take some time off. And he said, okay, 10 days sounds good. And knowing he needed to get back on the bike. But, yeah, words from everyone that was there riding. Day 1 back on the bike, he was okay. Day 2 or 3, they said, yeah, he's ripping again. Definitely some more speed there. There goes Hunter Hart, the number 2 machine, working his way through. Look at that, Josh Merritt almost clipping that monster can. But Josh Merritt has made up a gob of time and is now right to the rear wheels of Hunter Hart. So, folks, we got us a barn burner shaping up over that final podium spot. Josh Merritt now really starting to put the pressure on the number 2 of Hunter Hart. But right behind him, the coal train. Choo-choo, baby. Let's get it going. Yeah, he's just feeding the coal to it.
He's hanging tough, too. He got passed by Merritt, and it's, like you said, those guys ride together. He's probably very comfortable with the number 5. Seems to have sunk his hooks into him and says, hey, I'm going to let you bring me along. Both of these guys catching up to the back of Hunter Hart, and like you said, that is going to be a battle royale. All of these guys, for their own reasons, want that final spot on the podium, and none of them going to give it up without a fight.
Absolutely. And then the 6th and 7th place riders as they came through. We did see Stephen Harrell coming through there in the number 5 spot, 6th and 7th. Oh, look at that. Adam McGill has now made up some time, putting some pressure, starting to work his way up, inching his way closer to that top 5. But Ronnie Rush, the 7 7:14 and the 2:46 of Brandon Owens. They've kind of latched on to McGill, and all three of those guys working their way forward. But the big change there was Stephen Harrell did lose a little bit of ground there. No longer in that Hunter Hart, Josh Merritt battle. Hunter Hart, Josh Merritt, Cole Richardson battle. And that is your 3rd, 4th, and 5th place spot coming through there. So it'll be Harrell in the number 6 spot. So, man, things really starting to shake their way out here. Again, still a big shout out to Stephen Harrell. The only way you can ever get yourself up front to battle for these podium positions, to battle for a win, first you've got to do it for a mile, then for a lap. He's making strides. He did it for a lap today. He was in a podium position and very near a podium position for a full 2 laps, and now he's kind of worked his way back with, we're about 3/4 of the way through lap number 3, and he has fallen back to the number 6 spot.
Well, I tell you what, I'm curious, Johnny. We saw Hunter Hart between 20 and 30 seconds behind Bryson Neal the last time around. That was before Bryson's off-track excursion. If he was able to make up enough time due to Bryson's mistake to where he's able to catch a glimpse of the number 1, we saw Walker Fowler just go through the bottom of your screen. He might have lost some time, but he didn't lose a lot of it. There is Bryson Neal.
And that's, I think, what we're seeing right now with these two. They're pushing the pace so hard. Bryson Neal is absolutely charging. Walker Fowler responding so far to every charge that Bryson Neal has put in. He has not been able to get right to the rear wheels. Some of these sections, as you can see, though, a lot of dust kicking up. And I'm certain if you're Walker Fowler, you're making sure you hang a wheel into those dust berms a little bit.
He's so good at that.
Kick up just a little bit of extra dust and do everything you can to make it harder for Bryson Neal to see. Right now, Walker Fowler looking like he's putting on a pace. Bryson Neal's able to match it, able to chip away at it, but so far has yet to get right to the rear wheels. These two just putting a little more heat to it right now than everybody else.
Going to be exciting to see. I'm interested to see this Richardson. There we go. There is Hart.
Oh, he's actually opened up a little bit over Josh Merritt.
Yeah, because I was about to say that Merritt was closing in.
There's Merritt there in 4th, and there is Richardson in 5th. So what was a pretty much wheel-to-wheel, a camera shot ago, has now opened up a little bit between those three. The section they just ran, though, very tight. One little miscue can make it kind of hard to really ride behind somebody. Maybe some alternate lines, hard to know. But now look at the gap that they've opened up over the number 8 of Stephen Harrell. Probably the intensity that he really put out that first 2 laps now starting to take its toll, and he is losing some ground, but still solidly there in the number 6 spot, but heavy pressure from behind now, as we see on screen from the 621 of Wyatt Wilkin, another rider who's had a real breakout year in 2024.
Yeah, that's what. Go ahead. So sorry, Mike.
I was going to say 2 young guys. You got a rookie right there, and then a man in his sophomore year. So if there's one guy you want to beat on the track, though, I think if you're in your second year in the pro classes, man, I can't let the rookie get the best of me.
I would argue the rider on the charge right in this part of the pack right now is the 521 of Adam McGill. Looking a little off early on lap 1 and even into the kind of the middle of lap 2, and now it looks like he's really putting in a charge. He's opened up a little bit of ground, and Ronnie Rush, to his credit, hanging tough there as well in the number 10 spot, and right there behind McGill, kind of trying to keep pace with them, and it's now drawn them up to the back of the riders in front of them. John Glauda Jr. right behind McGill. Then in front of him it is Wilkin, Harrell, Richardson, Merritt in that order. So things have shaken up a little bit from our running order on screen that we're showing there to the left of the screen, but man, the top 10 all still pretty close together. Any one of these guys at any time could make a move and just make big jumps forward.
Well, we've talked about riders such as Hart, such as Merritt, feeling like they belong on the podium. How about the guy who's gotten second at the last 2 races, Wyatt Wilkin? He's back in just outside the top 5. You want to talk about a sense of urgency and feeling like you belong to be further up. You got to think Wilkin. It did sound like we got a little bit of a scoop as far as what the freestyle move that we saw was. Jackson Burrell checked in down there. It sounds like the gas cap was stuck. Is that correct?
Yeah, so what we refer to as the gas cap is actually, it's a dry brake receiver. So it works off of springs and pressure, and that's where you see those probes on the fuel cans go in. Pressure opens it, and then there's 3 springs, and what can happen is if that gets cocked sideways in there, it can very easily kind of get stuck. When we saw him standing up like that, my guess is maybe trying to put pressure or kick the side of the tank to release the receiver and get it to pop back up in. The fact that he's up to speed, that problem is fixed, because if that receiver was hung open, he would be splashing fuel everywhere, and there's no chance that he could be going the speed he is. The only concern he may have is, did he lose any fuel in that process? We weigh down our leaders here at mile marker number 10 at the FMF PowerPoint. Lapped riders now starting to become a factor. We haven't seen that so far through 2 laps complete, but now as we work our way near the end of lap number 3, we're starting to see the lapped riders, maybe just a few here and there, but those could become a big part of our race. Walker Fowler on screen, and that is already a little bigger gap than we saw a lap ago, but we did see Bryson Neal into the trees just a little while ago there at the Monster Mile, and he's already started to make up that gap. You can see they have worked their way around at least a few riders already here that were lapped riders on lap number 3.
Now, Johnny, let's get your opinion on this. Jackson and I were going back and forth earlier this morning. One of the things that's so fun to see, especially in the wetter conditions, is the drastic difference between the top-level riders and some of the further rows back. Obviously, very skilled, all of them, to be in the afternoon race. But in conditions like these, a little drier, obviously still challenging, but not quite as chaotic, if you will. Do you think the lappers may be running a little faster of a pace? They're a little more difficult to get around in conditions like this?
It just depends. I mean, that's a double-edged sword right there. You know, they're definitely able to kind of navigate the track better in conditions like this, but the speed differential, shockingly, is actually higher in a race like this, because right now these guys have great grip. You know, they're getting good forward bite. They can really lay it out there on the line. Look at this. Here comes the battle over third. Hunter Hart and now Josh Merritt has closed the gap up again, but look at this. The Coltrane on the hammer and almost back to the rear wheels of Josh Merritt. We see a big smile on Mikey Waynes. It is good to have the Coltrane back racing.
It is. And just thinking about that with Hunter Hart and the woes that he's had this season, you got to feel good for a guy like Hunter to be in front of 2 guys that his name seems to always be circled with, which is Coltrane and a guy like Wyatt Wilkin or Josh Merritt in that situation. So, yeah, really looking forward to watching those 3 duke it out here in the second half of this one.
There we go. Walker Fowler on screen working his way ever closer to what should be a 2-lap card question mark. I'm assuming that we had a 5-lap race this morning.
Yeah.
This is speculation. We will get our word from race control, not racer TV control, but race control. Race control to Major John. Can we get a confirmation exactly how long this one is going to go? We are thinking it likely will be a 5-lap race, meaning when they come through with this lap, now 3 complete, it will be Ricky Towery with the 2-lap board in his hand, meaning 2 more circuits around this Mason-Dixon facility, and we're going to declare a winner here today.
Yeah, OPAG going to let us know exactly what's going on. That's our producer, Adam Gordon, of course. OPAG.
He just took it to another level, OPAG.
So we'll wait to get the word from him as far as exactly how many laps we will have left. But, yeah, got to think maybe the teams and the riders, I can't think they're saving a lot still, especially those top 2 guys. I mean, as close as they are, they've got to be pushing the envelope as much as they can. But nonetheless, it's hard to tell. If you may have 3 laps left, you may have 2 laps left. I definitely think, though, once they come across the line, they'll know if I don't see a 2-lap card, it's going to be 3. If I see the 2-lap card, I know exactly what I've got left, and then can kind of adjust their pace accordingly.
Well, Zach, as we wait and we watch, and we're watching right now Bryson Neal trying to track down Walker Fowler. Those are the 2 riders you're seeing on screen. Through that thick foliage, that is the 723 of Walker Fowler, has led this one since the very early stages of lap number 2 when he got around early race leader Stephen Harrell. And just behind him there, the number 1, the Bidwell Bullet. You see Walker Fowler takes a look over his shoulder to Titans. And look at this, a white flag waving, meaning that we will see a 4-lap race. Keeping in mind, folks, a lot of track added for this afternoon race, meaning that they're going to go ahead and have a 1-lap shootout between these 2 riders, and lurking not too far back behind them, we'll see what the gap is. What was 16 seconds a lap ago, Hunter Hart there in the number 3 spot, now joined by Josh Merritt and Cole Richardson as well, but the gap as they came through, 4.6 seconds. So 1 lap ago, 5.2, this lap 4.6. And I'll tell you what, see that stuff on screen, that dust? I think that plays a factor in this gap right now. Bryson Neal can get close. He just can't get quite close enough to Walker Fowler to get in the same dust cloud. Walker's able to kick up that dust, and Bryson not able to close the gap down any closer than about 5 seconds right now, Jackson.
Yeah, and looking at the lap times here on this one, they were able to take off about a minute It was 27-minute lap times last time around. Now we're looking just at the 26-minute lap times. So those riders pushing the pace out there on the course.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you talk lap times, how much closer can it get than this? 0.6 of a second is the differential between, which we would know if we did the math. It was 5.2. Now it's 4.6. So Bryson Neal taking a whopping 0.6 of a second out of Walker Fowler in one lap of racing. Folks, he's going to have to do a lot more. But when you're talking the distances that they have right now, it's a couple bike lengths. I mean, these guys are so close, especially in the slower sections of the track. They're literally 10, 15 feet from each other max. This race looks like it's going to come right down to the wire.
Not only did he take that little amount off, though, but that was also with his off-track excursion.
Yeah.
So if he cleans up that corner right there, I mean, he had to back that machine up at one point. So can't help but think, had he not gone off just to the side of that Monster Energy sign, he would be a lot closer, arguably be in the position to try to make the pass. But it almost seems like with dust, there's that dead zone where you're just absolutely caught in. You get close enough, the dust hasn't really kicked up in your face quite yet, but if you're too far back, it's kind of been carried away out of the way by the wind. And it's like you said, he gets up to that one spot, he gets absolutely buried, and they go from there. Can't help but think that the teams, obviously, they've seen the white flag now, no stopping. This is all the way to the finish. Do you think the riders were surprised to see the white flag, and did we just see a lock-in?
I don't know that we saw a lock-in, but we saw a nod.
I saw a nod.
Did you see the nod? He nodded at the crew. They probably told him something, gave him something on the pit board. Walker Fowler taking a look over his shoulder. Bryson Neal taking one look to his left there and seeing, okay, that's the guy. I got to get to him, and then I got to find a way around him. Guys, I think this one really could come down to lapped riders. I mean, this track, it got a good flow to it. It can be hard to pass on unless you've got a line tucked in your back pocket. It really may come down to when these riders are catching lappers, Walker Fowler is kind of in the bad position there because he's the first rider that's got to get to the lappers and try to make a way around. One miscue, lap rider gets a little excited, clips a tree, Bryson breezes right by. On the flip side of that, with that 5-second gap that's looking a little less right now, about 5 feet, if Walker Fowler can make a pass, put a lapper between him and Bryson Neal, he can gain an advantage. So those lappers can go either way, but I'll tell you right now, this one's a coin flip because I'd rather be the guy in front in terms of this track. It's a little hard to pass on, but I'd rather be the rider behind when it comes to lappers because you're just in that catbird seat. One slight little miscue and you can capitalize on it.
Take a look at that. What a kick they were getting as they headed back into one of those open sections. And at this point, it looks like Bryson's ready to eat a full meal of dust if he's got to. He is not letting up whatsoever.
Now, that was interesting right there. The lap rider did not seem to give way as they went into the woods. And it's hard because you guys can't see the line. I know it's there. That top line is actually faster. I was almost surprised Bryson Neal didn't dive into that top line, try to pressure that lapper through there and make the pass on Walker Fowler. But as they come out, they are still in the same running order. We do see it is the 723 machine. But now, for the first time today, Bryson Neal is officially on his rear wheels.
And it's getting close, and you were talking about the lap riders coming into play in this one. I think it very well might could. Walker Fowler, he has been a man on a mission this year to make sure he is on the top step, and Bryson Neal is not. I think Bryson Neal really going to have to work to get around Walker Fowler.
Yeah, this one's going to be one that I think it's going to be very hard, not impossible, but difficult to make an outright pass if it's going to happen. There are a couple multi-line sections. Obviously, we have these fields. Pretty awesome that we have this Yamaha Racing live drone, and they're going to follow these guys all the way through these open sections as much as they can this lap, and whether it be just the battles back and forth or potentially a pass, Bryson Neal has made the pass around Walker Fowler somewhere in that wood section, and it almost looked there was an exchange of hand gestures. Not sure what was going on there, but Bryson Neal now leading the way and Walker Fowler in the number 2 spot, and now the roles are reversed.
A new person on a mission. Bryson Neal, man, how about that? Just as soon as we were saying it, he was able to pull the trigger, finds himself in that first place position.
Look at this, Walker Fowler almost diving down the inside. Wow, that was close right there. These guys are absolutely wheel to wheel.
Taking a look as they weave their way through the trees. Now, Johnny, you've been around on more of the course than we have physically. Do you have any idea where you think that happened?
Yeah, I mean, there is a couple two-line sections. The track actually parallels a ravine, turns, goes down through the ravine, and comes back on the other side. There's a high line, a low line, and a middle line on both sides of that ravine. But honestly, it normally shapes up one very much quicker line than the rest, depending on the track conditions. My guess, speculation, would be either Bryson Neal had a line in his back pocket and or, again, could have been lap traffic coming into play. We did see there were some riders ahead in that last camera shot. Hard to say. We follow as much of the racing action as we can, but sometimes we just got to wait till the podium interviews and find out how those passes were made.
Yeah, going to be exciting to hear from the riders for sure, regardless of how things shake out. And this is exactly what you want from an announcer's point of view. Close, tight racing all the way towards the finish. And there you go, leaders on screen. Bryson Neal does have that #1 spot with Walker Fowler close in tow.
And free Howard's Hole. We got the guys and gals getting ready for Snowshoe. Only 3 weeks away. Mark your calendars. If you haven't booked your room, well, you better plan on staying at the inn at the bottom of the mountain because it's booked, baby. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't come. The mountain will be full, and it will be full of fun. Work your way down to Howard's Hole because that is a spectacle.
Absolutely. Snowshoe GNCC. It's like going to a party and a race breaks out. But right now, it is all focused on this final lap. The white flag is at
1 minute, 2 seconds. Now is the gap back to Hunter Hart. So you want to ask, how fast are Walker Fowler and Bryson Neal going? Real fast. Josh Merritt now just 2.3 seconds behind Hunter Hart and still sitting back there in the #5 spot, only 4.2 seconds back. It's the choo-choo, Cole Richardson, putting the coal to it. He's kept it on the track so far. Can he keep it on the tracks all the way to the finish, get himself a podium position? He's got to work his way around either Josh Merritt or Hunter Hart if he wants to get there. But those three riders all separated by a total of only 6 seconds.
Well, and similar to what you said about when you thought the two leaders were going to link up, maybe those riders being so close, they're battling back and forth, they're slowing down just a little bit, but seems to be the complete opposite for these guys, that they have clicked another gear and disappeared out front as we wait to see them here at mile 4.
There you see Bryson Neal leading the way, Walker Fowler shadowing him, and man, we got some lap riders just ahead there we saw in that last camera shot. How will this one pan out? Looking like Bryson really pushing the pace right now, trying to open up a gap, trying to get Walker Fowler off of the back of him, knowing that there's a lot of single track ahead, potential lap riders, but right now, Bryson Neal's in the driver's seat.
I've always felt like that's something Bryson does well whenever he makes a pass, whether it's an extra charge, whatever it is, he almost immediately is able to put a bike length or two between himself and the competition.
That was Wyatt Wilkin working his way through, so I do think we have seen. Wyatt was about 33 seconds behind in that #6 spot, behind Cole Richardson. So he had lost a little bit of time there, but that was likely your 6th place rider. They're working their way through there at the 3-mile marker. We may get to see this podium battle. If we stick here at the 4-mile marker, it was about a minute behind those two riders that came through about 20-30 seconds ago. So if we hang tight here, we very possibly may be able to see, will it still be Hunter Hart? He has really been riding well today, putting himself back up in a podium position for the first time since round 2 at the Florida GNCC, but the rider behind him is the same rider it was that day. He was able to hold off Josh Merritt in Florida. Can he do it again today? Also, Cole Richardson back there lurking, only another 2 seconds back. Those guys basically wheel to wheel. Folks, when you start talking 2 seconds, 4 seconds, that can be a matter of a misshift, going a little wide in a corner. Those gaps evaporate quickly. Josh Merritt has made the pass around Hunter Hart up to the #3 spot, and look at this. The Cole train is really putting the pressure on Hunter Hart now. So Hunter Hart into the #4 spot, and Cole Richardson in 5th, putting big pressure here in the final lap of racing.
So look at that. The question of Cole Richardson's fitness, you can throw that out the window. He's here for the entire 2-hour duel, and Josh Merritt, once again, it looks like he's put a couple of bike lanes between himself and Hart, and he wants to leave, no questions about it. He wants everybody to know, hey, this spot is mine right now. Now, obviously, we see the gap from those top 2 guys, but I think there's something to be said about being there with those top 2 riders. It's hard to keep that pace when you can't see them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, hats off to Josh Merritt. He literally came from 2nd to last and a good ways behind there off the start after connecting with Jared McClure, and he's worked his way all the way up to the #3 spot. But I'll tell you what, Hunter Hart doesn't look like he's ready to just let him ride away with it. He's still right there. Look at this. There was kind of the tail of lap #3. Bryson Neal into the bushes trying to chase Walker Fowler. That monster can has been playing hectic with these guys all day long.
The monster can is probably saved a couple of these guys, because if they weren't able to see it bright and early, we've seen one guy almost clip one side versus the other. As you see, they make their way through. That was a knot in. That wasn't quite a full lock in, but nonetheless, he knew what was coming. He had something picked out. We lost sight of him on the drone, but when they came back out on the other side, it was Bryson Neal taking over the #1 spot around Walker Fowler.
Opening up a few bike lengths as they work their way through the 4-mile marker, but Walker Fowler still in pursuit. Bryson Neal looking comfortable in the lead. Will he be able to hold it all the way to the finish, though, boys?
It's anybody's guess. As you see, Merritt has now moved into the #3 spot. The battle is on between Coltrane and Hunter Hart for the 4th and 5th place spots. But at the front of the field, we still have several miles left of racing. The white flag is waving. We're going to get a quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be back for the Parts Unlimited Mason-Dixon GNCC.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Ah, yee! Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation. The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Parts Unlimited Mason-Dixon GNCC. We have a battle on our hands at the front of the field. Bryson Neal making the pass around Walker Fowler as the white flag flies, just under a lap to go, and then things heating up for the final podium spot, as well as Josh Merritt makes the pass around Hunter Hart. And got to mention the Coltrane chugging along. He's got the pressure on the back of Hunter Hart as well. They join us inside the studio. Zach Karen alongside Jackson Burrell and Johnny Gallagher. Guys, what an exciting race we've already had, and we've only got a few minutes left.
Yeah, Go ahead, Jackson.
Go ahead.
It's really been a barn burner. I mean, we had a first-time leader grabbing that early lead. Walker Fowler with the whole shot, but Stephen Harrell right to the front, set a great pace early, but man, it's been a shakeup since then. We've seen way more passes at the front than we've seen in most of the races so far, not necessarily just for the lead, but we've had 3 different leaders, and we've had the top 5 really just put them in a shaker and shake them out. That's how it's been through the first 4 laps of racing here, and now we're waiting on the completion of lap number 5, but first we're going to get to see him a few more times. We're at the 6-mile marker, and on cue, Bryson Neal leading the way, but Walker Fowler still right on his rear end, and guys, navigating that Monster Energy can perfectly this lap, both those guys. Walker Fowler almost got a piece of it on lap number 2. Bryson Neal having to actually go to the right of it on lap number 3. That has really been a significant obstacle for these guys here at the Monster Mile.
Well, it just shows the amount of speed that they're able to carry through that section, slideways, as I like to say. And I can't help but think there's been at least a couple of bikes that have tagged that tree as they've come through. That's why they hung the can up so high. But nonetheless, they didn't need to take the drink. The beast is already unleashed, and both of them wheel to wheel, only seconds apart here with only a few miles left to go here at mile 6. And I think it's anybody's guess. We've got some open field sections, but Walker Fowler, he had that early race lead. You got to think he's pretty upset that Neal was able to find a way around.
Yeah, absolutely. And so far, it looks like Walker's been able to match Bryson's pace. Bryson made the pass somewhere there in that section of woods. They came out into the fields, but right now Walker Fowler still stayed glued to his rear end. A lot of opportunities to make moves. As far as passes, it really is limited. I don't have a crystal ball, but I really think it's going to take some outside influence from Walker Fowler. But again, I would have personally said at the Hoosier just a few weeks ago at round number 6, there was nowhere left for Walker Fowler to make the pass, and he found a way to get it done. Bryson Neal leaving it inside open on that moto track. Don't anticipate seeing that again, but look at this. Josh Merritt on the number 5 machine, not only up into the number 3 spot, but has opened up a gap. There is Hunter Hart in the number 4 spot. No longer the pressure from behind, though, from the Cole train of Cole Richardson. So Hunter still can see Josh ahead of him. Cole Richardson definitely has given up some ground. He was right there in that last camera shot, but right now, Hunter Hart needs to make up about 5 seconds on Josh Merritt. Josh Merritt looking like he's pushing hard, trying to hang on to that final podium spot.
Obviously, Hunter Hart wanting that final podium spot, but still, if they finish like they are right now, you got to think this is a positive trend for Hunter Hart's racing season so far. He's had a lot of different obstacles, whether it's mechanical, personal issues as well. Seems like even though maybe not in the position he wants to be, he's kind of got things going in his direction again.
Absolutely. I mean, just for him to be out there scoring points, he's had some rough rounds, but not only is he scoring points, I mean, this is a rider that throughout much of the race could see the lead. Obviously gave up some time once Walker Fowler and Bryson Neal really kind of put the hammer down here in the last 2 laps, but still Hunter Hart solidly in a 4th place spot and within striking distance of a podium in these final miles of racing with just about 4 miles of racing left. We'll check in here and see if we can get an update at the completion of lap number 3 from our XC2. Looks like it was still Alex Tiemann leading the way. Grayson Eller had worked his way around Braxton Gross, but a 1 minute 42 second gap behind Alex Tiemann, and then Braxton Gross only 1.2 seconds behind. So man, that one's really shaping up to be a battle between Eller and Braxton Gross for that second and 3rd place spot in XC2.
I'm loving all the tight racing at the top of the field. We've been very fortunate to have some great races, and like we said, whether it be weather, whether it be crashes whatsoever, sometimes we've had some riders really stretch it out, but here today, inside the top 5 at the XC1 field, and then like you said, those podium positions in XC2, absolutely anybody's guess. And look at the lap riders.
That's exactly what I was going to point out, Zach Jackson. Come on, look at these guys. They're just lapper working their way through that camera shot. Granted, Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal not coming through right now, but Bryson leading the way. He's going to have to navigate, maybe not those lappers, but just trains of lappers like that, really starting to get thick into lappers here late in this one.
And I'm not saying that it's affecting him, but I can't help but think maybe 2 hours in, that dislocated shoulder. I know he took 10 days off. Obviously, he's telling us he feels good. He was very forthcoming as far as what happened, but he's been in a pretty tight battle between chasing down Stephen Harrell and then knowing that the Bidwell Bullet was chasing him down. Maybe, as look at that, look, Neal was going to jump into the back of that lap rider, and you talked about getting the short end of the stick. Neal definitely had to check up right there.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Walker Fowler able to close the gap, but, you know, that could have easily gone the other way. It's just so many options when these guys are coming up on lapped riders. Lapped riders not realizing that there is an absolute freight train coming behind them. And look at that, wheel to wheel. B. Neal, the number 1, the Bidwell Bullet. Walker Fowler going outside, trying to square him up. This lap rider, absolutely no idea what's happening, but now he knows. There goes Neal by, and Fowler as well. And this one looks like it's going to come right down to it. Walker Fowler trying to run it wide, trying to go around the outside, running out of real estate. Bryson Neal doing a great job of holding his line and just point to point. Get there first, and the guy can't get around you. Right now, he's able to hold off the 723 of Fowler.
Damaged wing or not, he is charging hard. He wants that number 1 position back, and he knows he's only got a couple of miles left to do it. And to your point, yeah, you could tell that rider was just paying attention forward. All of a sudden, he's like, what is this commotion going on? Oh, wait a second, I got to get out of the way.
I'll tell you what, and we've seen it so many times, what can happen in a situation like this, they hear a bike. All they hear is wide open, rev limiter. They don't realize there's 2 guys wheel to wheel so quickly. A rider, you could be trying to pass on their left. If they look over their right shoulder and see, let's say in this situation, Bryson Neal leading, Walker Fowler in second. They come up on a lapped rider. Bryson Neal goes to go around the left side. All the rider hears is a bike. If they just happen to turn right and see Walker Fowler coming, their natural reaction is to drift left right across in front of Walker Fowler. Exact same thing could happen to the opposite. Rider could drift in front of Walker and just leave it wide open for B. Neal. You just never know. When these guys get side by side like they are right now, it's really a crapshoot. Anybody's guess.
Yeah, when we say it is anybody's guess, we mean it. In perfect situations like what you just saw are why. Sometimes it doesn't always come down to the riders in the battle. It's the conditions. It's the other riders around them. That's part of what makes GNCC Racing so excited, as there we see Josh Merritt. And
Cole Richardson has gotten around Hunter Hart now. So Cole Richardson went from looking like he had lost some ground. Again, very much could be lapped riders, but he has put in a charge, and he is now to the rear wheels of Josh Merritt in that number 4 spot, and just behind him, Hunter Hart in 5th. So that is the 3-rider battle that's going to go through the final miles, looking like all the way to the finish line over that final podium spot.
And last time we had seen Merritt, he had opened up several bike leads on the battle between Hart and Coltrane. So they have not only made the passes, now it looks like Wyatt Wilkin has gotten around. They caught back up to the rear wheel of the number 5.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that could be, you're speculating, but again, there was a lot of tight sections that we did not have on camera there from our last camera shot at the 6 to this here at the 8. So anytime you catch lapped riders, you can see, look at the speed differential. These guys are excellent riders. They go to their local series, they're probably top 5, top 10 overall running in an A class or a B class. They come here, and you can just see the speed difference between a guy like, Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, these top riders. Now it is Stephen Harrell with pressure from behind. Looks like that. Is that Ronnie Rush?
It is.
Ronnie Rush has put in a charge and made some passes. He is now up. He has gotten around Adam McGill. He's gotten around, that looked like Brandon Owens. And did we lose John Glauda Jr.? Doesn't look like he came through in that shot unless we missed him. But definitely they have now all gotten to the rear wheel of Stephen Harrell. So that looks like 6, 7, 8, and 9, all pretty much wheel to wheel. And yes, here comes Glauda now rounding out the top 10. Gave up many positions and quite a bit of time in the last lap of racing.
Checking back in now at mile 10, the FMF PowerPoint.
Here we are at the 10-mile marker here at the FMF PowerPoint, working their way through. We should see, will it still be the number 1 of Bryson Neal on that Phoenix Racing Yamaha? Will Walker Fowler be able to make the pass? Will they still be wheel to wheel? We just don't know. The lap riders we saw in that last camera shot 2 miles ago. We're joined back in the booth now with Mikey Waynes. There was a lot of lap traffic in front of these guys, and now they're having to work their way through it. This really could make things interesting here in the final 2 miles of racing.
Hey, to your credit, as here they come through the FMF PowerPoint. Johnny Gallagher, you called it about a lap ago. You said, man, I think this might come down to some lap traffic, and we saw an example of it there. Those guys had to check up. It's about who's getting there first, who's getting there second, and maybe take advantage.
Yeah, right now Bryson Neal clear track in front of him. We saw about a 15-20 second window there. We didn't have any lapped riders come through, but right now he's just still not able to open up any significant gap over Walker Fowler. They are just pretty much wheel to wheel, a few bike lengths in between them, but right now Bryson Neal doing an excellent job of holding his lines, holding the pace, and making it impossible for Walker to get even close enough to him to even make a run at him, let alone try to make a pass. There's just that 4 or 5 bike length distance that we've seen throughout much of this lap, and Walker Fowler continues to try to close it down. Bryson Neal's just able to stabilize it.
Bryson Neal trying to return to the center of the box. Walker Fowler trying to get back on the box, but maybe more importantly, searching for that win number 76 that would set him alone at the top of the all-time wins list. So a lot at stake for both guys right here, as now Walker Fowler reels them in a bit as they duck back into the woods.
I'll tell you who the real winner is here today, regardless of if it's Bryson Neal across the line first or Walker Fowler. The fans of GNCC Racing, you've been treated to a wheel-to-wheel battle between two of the best to ever do it, and they're bringing it right down to the finish line. They've been locked in a battle like this for a little over a lap now.
Yeah.
Walker Fowler leading the way throughout much of it. Bryson Neal able to wrestle that lead away in a wood section there off camera, and right now they still continue to duke it out. Now it's Walker Fowler's turn to eat some dust. Bryson Neal says, hey, how's it feel back there, buddy? I did that for 2 laps trying to get to you. Walker Fowler trying to square him up, trying to get inside, but Bryson Neal able to carry the speed around the outside, and Fowler not close enough to make a move at this point on the racetrack.
I was waiting to see if we had that same situation we had at the Hoosier, last month or the month before, where Walker Fowler was able to Borich Bryson Neal, but so far a no-go. I got to think that's probably in the back of the mind of Bryson Neal as well. Like, man, I cannot let that happen again here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you're Bryson Neal, 2 third-place finishes back-to-back, what you could say a losing streak,
Sure.
people saying.
Yeah.
But, still an excellent points day for him 3 weeks ago. Right now, can't do better than 30 points for a win, and that's what he's trying to do right now. But Walker Fowler not making it easy on him. If you're Bryson Neal and you're laying everything on the line, you want just a couple bike lengths.
Oh, right.
You want a little breathing room. But Walker Fowler refusing to give up on it and just absolutely pushing him around the racetrack. So any questions about the speed differential between those two, let's call it inches, because that's what it is. We're now down into less than a mile to go to the finish line. Very few passing opportunities left, but we do have those chicanes coming into the finish line, Mikey Waynes.
Oh, going to be a fun one to watch right here. Bryson Neal doing a great job of holding him at bay, some good defensive riding and kicking up some dust, and wow, getting the power to the ground right there. Neal just not being denied. Walker reels him back in just a bit. Watching it unfold on the Yamaha Racing live drone.
Oh, now they're wheel to
very
wheel.
close. Let's see who wants it. Neal out in front, Fowler in the 2 spot.
That's it right there. Bryson Neal got her done, was able to close down that inside, but they came through literally inches separating them, and what a battle, Mikey Waynes.
Yeah, that was pretty incredible. A little fist in the air right there for the Bidwell bullet of Bryson Neal, able to hold off Walker Fowler. Walker Fowler has to, I'm going to use air quotes, settle. I don't know about settling, but take second place nonetheless. A great ride by those two. And boy, what a performance. So B. Neal will return back to the center of the box. A handshake between the fellas. Between B. Neal and Mark Notman and Walker Fowler. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what, that's good to see. I mean, those guys just left everything out on the line, and to shake hands, I don't think it's any secret. There's a little animosity there after the Hoosier. Not so much about the past, but some of the stuff transpired after. I think some things were said. They kept it professional.
Yep.
They just went out there and they proved, hey, right now we're the 2 best to do this. You saw it, folks. We did not leave a moment of those final miles uncovered with our drone there. They kept it clean. They kept it classy, but they left everything out on the track, and they absolutely just pulled away from the rest of the competition in those final 2 miles or 2 laps of racing. Who will it be? This one isn't over. We still got a podium position left up for grabs. Will it be the Coltrane? He's the man on the move. He got around Hunter Hart. He's to the rear wheels of Josh Merritt. Will Hunter Hart dig deep in these final miles and be able to put himself back onto the podium, or will it be the number 5 of Josh Merritt? Look at this. It's Merritt, but heavy pressure from behind. Choo-choo! The Coltrane is trying to come through, baby.
So Merritt, let's see. He's the real deal. Grabbing a win a few weeks ago. Under some fire from a man, quote-unquote, fresh off the couch. Coltrane, trying to run it in. Unable to make it happen right there, but all over the rear grab bar right now.
I would not want Cole Richardson behind me in these final chicanes. He is incredibly good at these off-camber corners like this. He has got them dialed. Josh Merritt trying to protect the inside, taking a look over his shoulder. He's just keeping those insides, doing everything he can. If he gets around this corner first, he's got it, and he does. As long as he checks up to that inside, he gets it done. Final podium position goes to Josh Merritt. Cole Richardson in 4th, fresh off the couch. The Coltrane still got some steam.
Yes, he does, man. Looking forward. I really hope he shows up to Snowshoe. He talked like he was gonna. Please do. Coltrane, we want you there. Want to see what you can do back there on some of those rows. And there is Hunter Hart checking in there just behind those guys. And, Hunter Hart not going to get the finish I think he wanted today, putting it on the box, taking a podium. But I think a move in the right direction for Hunter Hart.
Absolutely. I mean, Hunter rode excellent today, had himself up in a podium position throughout much of the race. Josh Merritt just really riding a wave right now, coming off a win. I mean, he has been absolutely a podium guy week in and week out. I think it's just a confidence thing. He's riding so well right now. He wanted that podium. He visualized it. He went for it. He made it happen. But Hunter Hart, worlds ahead of where he's been the last couple races. Not long, I think, before we see Hunter Hart back on a GNCC podium near you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you got to continue to do those little things, and I think we saw that at Hunter today. And again, going to say it, another race in the books. Josh Merritt is here to stay. The man is for real.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Josh, a little bit of trepidation coming into today. You saw it in his interviews. He flat out told me on the starting line, and I think the best thing that happened for him was a very strange thing to get tied up in that first turn, but he charged through, puts it on the podium. We got Zach Herron down at the finish line with today's race winner, Bryson Neal. Zach, are you ready for us?
You made it interesting for us, and you said this place has always kind of fought you. Nonetheless, you come out on top. You've defeated it. Let's take it right from the start. Explain to us what happened.
This place in the start's kind of iconic. It's a little bit different than the other ones with the off camber and the tight corners. So it's really important to try to get a good start of this one. And then the track is not very good for passing out there. It's real tough with a lot of these big wide open ridges and stuff. So I knew the start was going to be key. And I heard someone else fire their bike. It sounded like one or two people right beside me, and I jumped, turned my key switch off, took off, and I was like, I already knew going to the first corner, here comes a time penalty. I already knew, I've already been down that road. So going to the first lap, I was trying to get through the pack as quick as I can and make as much time, because I knew at the end of the first I was going to have to stop and wait for 15 seconds. I got up to third. I passed Cole, passed a few guys, got up to third. Got a stick stuck in my shifter through my net, and Cole got me back. We were side by side, got wide open, going up and uphill, and I had my hand on the stick, and I was just pulling everything I got, and he was side by side. I wasn't letting off. I had one hand on the stick, just wide open, and he just barely edged me out, and I'm like, no, because it was so tough to pass. Man, pretty sure that I got him right before the finish line, or I followed him through the finish line, and then once we got that time penalty, I don't know what I went back to, fifth, sixth place. And it was just uphill every day, every lap. It was uphill every lap. I was off my bike every single lap. I was making tiny little mistakes, because where I was behind, I had to take chances. I had to really push. The track was super fast today. My bike was handling awesome. I mean, these Elka shocks tuned by Impact Solutions. My dad and I, we made some changes the last 3 weeks on the front end, and man, we was loving the setup this weekend. We really hit the mark, and we was really feeling the flow. We just kept on just making tiny little mistakes. I got Walker. I caught him going into the last lap, and it was just a good battle, man. I think it was right at the 2 mile marker on the uphill, right before we pop out in the field. There's a lapper that helped me. There's a split line. Walker went left. I went in the middle line. I hit it as hard as I could, and we was side by side, and the lap rider was just stuck in the middle of the track. And I just kind of had the front end on him and just kind of drove him almost right in toward the lapper, where he had to back off and he had to clamp him down. And then I had it from there. So, and then I actually made another mistake on the last lap, about the 6 mile marker 5. Just went over a berm just a little bit too quick, trying to get away. And then I got off the bike, got back on, and just brought this thing home. It was a pretty eventful day. Every lap had a story, but this is what you work for. This is earned. This wasn't given, and this is the races that mean the most and matter the most. And I'll never forget races like this. This was awesome today.
Guys, it's hard to sum it up better than that. Bryson Neal, despite the odds, gets the job done. He is your XC1 winner.
Mikey, that was interesting to see. We don't see a lot of emotion out of Bryson Neal, but today he said, this one is earned, it wasn't given. These are the races you remember, and I almost felt a little cracking in his voice there.
Yeah.
I think that's a sign of how deep that man went to get this win today.
Yeah.
What you saw is two of the best to ever do it. Go toe-to-toe. They each threw everything they had at the other, and when it came across the finish line, it came down to inches, but Bryson Neal got it done.
Yeah, that nails it on the head right there. I mean, we've seen Bryson Neal win by minutes, several minutes, but he's absolutely right. These are the ones that stand out to you, where you had to grit it out, you had to be the better man against somebody that was legitimately mano-a-mano, and just not any man. Walker Fowler, man, with 75 wins under his belt, I got to think that's not the guy you want behind you at the end of a race.
No, it's not, but I tell you what I want. I want to go right now to Snowshoe. Let's run this thing tomorrow, because right now these two are absolutely crushing it. They're so evenly matched right now. It is absolutely crazy to see when they just start battling. I mean, it's it's move for move. It's absolutely inch for inch. They're just right there pressuring each other, and it's awesome to watch.
It is. I'm really looking forward to hearing what Walker Fowler has to say after this one. And we're going to get that opportunity. Looks like he stands by having some fun down there with our Jackson Burrell.
All right, guys, I am here with your second place, Walker Fowler. Walker, what a day it was today as he tries to get his neck brace on. Man, you've proved yourself once again to be a force to be reckoned with here in 2024. Take us through your day.
Got off to a phenomenal start, got that whole shot money. Went a little wide, and man, it was so cool to look over and see the number 8, Stephen Harrell, and my boy Cole Richardson, the Coltrane number 3. And I'm like, man, I'm totally fine with these two up front. I was talking to Stephen's dad before the race, and he's like, Stephen just needs to start, man. I know he can run up there. And then Cole, him and I talked, and I was like, dude, I need some help. Like, I don't know with my shoulder being boogered up if I'm going to be able to do what I need to do. So I need some help. And to have those two guys, I trained with Stephen all winter in Florida. Trained with Stephen all winter in Florida, and having Cole back, it was so fun. That first lap, Stephen ran a better pace than I would have ran. Bryson obviously was chomping at the bit to get up front, but Stephen was holding his own, and I was able to make a move on him right on the start section, actually. And I knew Bryson had a penalty. I thought it was 30, but it was only 15. But I made the most of it. Tried to make a little bit of a gap there, and just, man, I don't know. That second lap hurt me for sure. Just shoulder just about came out. Got a leg cramp. Just working out the bugs, the jitters, being out front. And then once Bryson caught me, I don't know. I kind of got fired up. I'm like, you know what? No, damn it. Like, I'm here to win. I'm here to race, no matter the circumstances. And he actually started making mistakes behind me, giving me a little bit of time coming back, giving me some time coming back. And I'm like, just don't make any mistakes, and this could be yours. And made an aggressive move on me over here. It wasn't dirty by any stretch of the means, but him and I, at this point, there's not a whole lot of lines. So when you have a wheel, you take it. I gave him the wheel back, and he waved at me, and I gave him a different hand gesture when we were out in the field. And I was like, no, I'm sticking with you today. And I did. I felt really good. He got maybe 3-4 seconds on me one time, and he ended up hitting a tree. And I could have probably monster trucked over the back of him, but same thing. Like, there's no point in hurting anybody for nothing. He was going to catch me again. So I let him remount his machine, and the battle was on, and it was fun. Almost landed on the back of him coming into the finish here out of the woods. I didn't think he was going to check up, and I sent it, and he kind of spun out. And the fans everywhere around the track were excited, and just fun to hold my own for sure.
Walker, you mentioned your shoulder injury. Could you tell us a little bit more of that, how that could have affected you here today?
Yeah, I took 10 days off. Luckily, we had 21 days between the last race and now, and took 10 and, tried to stay active. A lot of walking. I felt like an old lady. Even running, it was trying to fall out, but got a brace for it, and was finally able to start, training and getting back into the swing of things. I can't do a whole lot of lifting, but kept up with the cardio, and I needed that today. I actually felt really good. That second lap, I was concerned. I was kind of getting gassed, and then my heart rate came down, and man, I rode really well. So, like I said, it tried to pop out that second lap. I caught a berm really strange, and it yanked the bars out of my hands, and I felt it kind of give, and kind of gritted my teeth and just dealt with it. And actually, I think it swelled up a little bit and kind of was holding itself better in place. I'm like, all right, cool, we're good. So off to snowshoe, baby. I'm ready for it.
All right, everybody, that is Walker Fowler, your second place here today.
Well, there you go, Mikey. That is what you call racer mentality right there. So it almost popped out, but then it swelled up, tightened things up, and I'm good to go. Regardless, interesting to hear. Those guys, sounds like a couple opportunities for contact. When you're out there on the race, these guys they're giving it everything they got. The emotions are high, but that handshake, the nod between them at the finish line, they're going to do everything they can on the track to beat each other. But these two, I will say, he said it, there's no love lost.
Right.
These are two riders that have battled for a lot of wins. They've always kept it clean between the two of them.
That's right.
There's never been, he tried to take me out or any of that. It's always been just clean, outright battles. We're joined here at the finish line now with Mr. Podium himself, Josh Merritt, coming off a win, backing it up at the podium, and Jackson Burrell's got him down there and ready to go.
Yeah, guys, I'm here with Josh Merritt, our third place here today. Josh, able to get yourself up into the podium position. Take us through it.
Yeah, I got definitely the last off the start. Knew there was going to be some carnage. That's a tough start, and passed a couple guys pretty quick, and really pumped up the first lap, and couldn't ride to my potential. It was really weird. Haven't felt that. I don't know if it's because of the hard ground, the dust. I was just holding on too tight, but slowly picked my way through the pack, and ended up with third today. Man, it was amazing. I don't know how I did it, to be honest with you. It was just one pass a lap every couple miles, and made it work. The battles I had with some of the guys was awesome, and then battling Cole and Hunter into the finish line was just great. And come away with that pressure and come with third, I'll take it, man. That's a good day for the start I had.
First place at the last race, a podium here today. How do you feel going to the mountain?
I feel great, man. It's all clicking. Mark Notman's got this bike dialed in. I'm just putting in the work off the quad and on the quad during the week, and I got my family, my girlfriend supporting me. It's just everything's clicking, and coming into Snowshoe, we're gonna get some. So we have some high hopes. Get on that podium again. It's gonna be tricky. I've never started row one in my career, so it'll be interesting to do, and I'm gonna learn a lot as I'm out there for sure.
All right, guys, that's your third place here today, Josh Merritt.
Well, there you go, Mikey. I tell you what, you want to see what confidence can do? Look at Josh Merritt's 2024 season. He's constantly crediting Mark Notman for the machine, Levi Cohen at Performance for the training. The bottom line is Josh Merritt is doing the riding. He's not taking any of the credit for it, but he keeps landing himself on the podium, and it's just been a banner year for him here in 2024, and he just continues to grow and continues to improve.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just, Josh Merritt's got that dog in him. There's no doubt about it. We're going to take a look at our Specialized race recap. This one was gnarly. From start to finish, there was drama on the start. Bryson Neal ended up being penalized after a false start on his side. Had to wait at the finish line for 15 seconds, but it was the 723 of Walker Fowler grabbing the Canati Tires Whole Shot Award for the XC1 Pro Class. And then that's when all chaos ensued. We threw all the riders into a Yahtzee shaker, and we were having it out. But how about Stephen Harrell on that lap number one?
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as Walker Fowler crossed that finish line, it was almost like he sent it a little bit too deep trying to get that Canati Tires Whole Shot, left that inside open. Stephen Harrell sneaks around the inside, says thank you very much. Cole Richardson up in the number 3 spot, right pretty much from the get-go. Little mix-up here. We see I don't know if it's a photographer, a spectator with a backpack, not realizing they're in the track. And then very soon after that, Stephen Harrell pushes just a little bit wide, leaves the door open. Walker Fowler charges through and takes the lead. He would hold then for the next 2 laps.
And then that man right there, the Bidwell Bullet, got the hydration hanging from his mouth, keeps it in there for at least half the race. But nonetheless, boy, we've seen this so many times this season. These two just kind of checking out in front. There they go through the 6-mile marker. Oops, little mistake there by Bryson Neal. Has to reset and get back to work. Lost a little bit of time there, but man, just watching these two folks at home here at the track, like you're watching some GNCC history unfold. Arguably 2 of the best to do it. Maybe not even arguably. I think factually, statistically, 2 of the best to do it here, and we get to watch it unfold.
And this was right after the pass right here. Yep. And we got to hear the story from both Bryson and Walker. Sounds like a lapped rider in the mix. Bryson Neal just absolutely sending it up the middle. Hand gestures exchanged. A hand up in the air for Bryson Neal. Walker Fowler said he gave him a little different one. That said, then behind those two, as they were trying to battle it out for the win, this was the battle for the podium. Josh Merritt working his way around Hunter Hart, and then Hunter Hart with heavy pressure from behind from Cole Richardson. At one point, Cole had actually lost some ground, and then when they came through here at the 8-mile marker, everything was shaken up again. You can see the checkups from the neck-ups, and there's lap riders coming into play. Bryson Neal leading the way, Walker Fowler putting pressure on, and they would run in formation like this nearly right to the finish line.
Absolutely, and boy, really thought lap traffic would play a factor, and it did play a factor, but didn't really change the outcome right here. But boy, just watching these two looked real reminiscent of what we saw at the Hoosier GNCC, and then the battle behind them continued.
How about this 3-rider battle for that final podium spot? Josh Merritt had it, Cole Richardson wanted it, and Hunter Hart wanted it back. He had held on to it for so much of the race. Flash ahead to the 10-mile marker, and still pretty much wheel to wheel. Bryson Neal leading the way. So much of this came from our Yamaha Racing live drone, watching this on our specialized rapid replay, you could see Bryson Neal pointed out just little mistakes, like right there, just barely going over that berm, and that's what kept the racing so close. Every time he was able to stretch it out just a very little bit, Walker Fowler right there, and look at that, coming across the finish line, nearly touching tires.
Mercy, that is about as good as it gets right there. A big congratulations to Bryson Neal on the win, and Walker Fowler finishing in the 2 spot. Josh Merritt will take 3rd. The Coltrane, welcome back to GNCC. He said he's going to try and make snowshoe. I'm going to say it right now. He's going to be there. Hunter Hart, I know not the result maybe he wanted, but again, as we mentioned earlier, a move in the right direction for him, a top 5 today.
Absolutely. You know, it's been his best ride since several rounds ago and running in a podium position throughout much of the day. Wyatt Wilkin just charging, to then continuing to make up ground, finishing in the number 6 spot. And there you saw the rest of the riders finishing out the top 10. Ronnie Rush, shout out to him. Good ride for him today. Was right there in the mix. Adam McGill worked his way up through, and man, to me, the storyline of the day has to be just the Battle of the Titans.
Yeah.
Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, they both took their turn at the front. Bryson Neal getting it done. But I don't know what the final margin of victory was. I can't turn around and look at the screen, but you can check it online. It was 16 seconds with 2 to go. And when it was coming to the finish, it was upwards of 1 minute and 20 seconds, and it just seemed to keep growing.
It's a heavyweight battle between these two. It's been that way pretty much every round this season. We're going to have more of that in snowshoe. I mean, it's literally setting up to be a heavyweight boxing match. You can hear it in their post-race interviews. No love lost between those guys. Johnny, any big takeaways from today outside of that?
Well, I just turned around and checked when we went away from our studio shot. 2 minutes and 2 seconds is the gap that those two opened up over Josh Merritt in 3rd. But, again, another takeaway, Josh Merritt, you know, coming off that win, charging from the back of the pack, putting it on the box. Great day for him. And welcome back to GNCC Racing. Nicole Richardson solidly in that 4th place position, right on Merritt's rear wheels coming across the finish line.
It's a great day of racing. We'll take a break here this evening. We'll be back tomorrow with the Pro Bike race with the live broadcast for that. And then, of course, Snowshoe coming up June 22nd and 23rd. And then we've got those highlight episodes coming out on Wednesday evenings at 7 o'clock. That is going to wrap things up for us here today. On behalf of Jackson Burrell, Zach Heron, Johnny Gallagher, our camera operators, JC, Matt, Josh, Mike, Leah, Kirsten, and Cameron, our drone pilot, Gabe Scholl, our manager, Dan Reinhart, our engineer in charge, Jordan McFadden, our director, Don Hampton, our, how do we put it? Our OPAG, our producer, Adam Gordon, and our executive producer, Carrie Jo Russell. I'm Mikey Waynes. We'll see you at the races.